What up, y'all? Welcome to Chip and Zay here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. I am Zay Collier. Appreciate everybody for rocking with us on this January 16th, Friday. Transfer portal ends today. So if you're trying to leave your team, you better put your name in there because today is the last day, even though these coaches can still talk to these players and whatnot. So we're going to get into all that today, break down a lot of Texas football. We got NFL playoffs. We got the Aggies coming into town for men's basketball and women's basketball. Definitely going to talk about the Texas women's basketball loss yesterday to South Carolina. They didn't play well, and yet they still lost by 3 points. So maybe there's some positivity with that. But either way, no Chip Brown today. Chip will be back on Monday, but I got my man with me. Yesterday, it went so well. He said, you know what, Zay? I got to jump back on tomorrow. And here he is. If you're a Texas fan and you don't know this guy, what the hell are you doing? Get out from under that rock. You should know him as Fanatic Perspective. My man, Steven Ngati. What's up, dog? How you
What's
doing?
up, Zay? Happy Friday. What is going on, Texas Sports Unfiltered Nation? It's just a pleasure to be on with you, Zay. I had a lot of fun yesterday. We're going to have some more fun today. If you're watching at work, if you're listening, as your week concludes, hopefully we can make it a little bit easier for you and provide some entertainment and some great ball talk. So I'm excited, Zay. What's
For
up?
sure, for sure. Me too. Yeah, if you at work, you listening, and your boss is tripping, F him. F him. It's Friday. He should be giving you off right now anyway. You know what I'm saying? Or if you got to hide it, if you got to keep that earplug in and somehow play it off, your boss come around, you scratching your ear like that. Hey, whatever it takes, we ain't going to hate. Like, appreciate y'all for
We here to
listening.
help. You need it for your mental health. My
Yeah,
brothers and
yeah, that's what
sisters
it's
listening
for.
out there.
Absolutely. Mental health, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And some need it in different ways. But yeah, man, we're excited today. The transfer portal, it is going down. Longhorns making moves. And I guess we can start off, Steven, talking about Warren Roberson, who entered the transfer portal. Clearly, nothing was popping off, or Texas Longhorns said, hey, we need this guy. Like, we can't allow this guy to leave. Y'all saw what he did at the Cheez It Citrus Bowl. Warren Roberson was laying wood out there. And I was telling Chip when it was going down, yo, this guy, he was hitting harder than anybody really in the secondary besides Jelani McDonald all year long. And he made himself a name on this team. I know special teams has been a little hit or miss. He gets called for a lot of penalties, special teams, where you see Jeff Banks be going in on Warren Roberson. Because I feel like, and again, Chip and I talked about this, Steven, all his penalties on special teams happen in the biggest moments. Like it happens when, last year Matthew Golden had big time kickoff against Georgia, and I think he got the laundry on that one. And then a couple more times, maybe a Ryan Niblin good punt return that got called back. But Silas Bolden last year too. Like Warren Roberson, special teams, it's been hit or miss, and he just hasn't had the opportunity as a cornerback to really, get the reps where I'm sure he would want. So now when you bring in Bo Masco, you like Cade Phillips, you keep Kobe Black, same situation. Kobe Black seemed like he was going to enter the portal. Somehow Will Muschamp and Steve Sarkisian convinced him to come back. Same with Warren Roberson. Steven, your thoughts on that?
I love it. I became a Warren Roberson fan during this past year's Georgia game after when he started playing defense because you and Chip are spot on. You talk Silas Bolden, I used to say this on my channel all the time. It was like choose your own adventure with him as a punt returner because he was so fearless, but it was like, what are you doing sometimes? But it was more than not, Silas was awesome and it was always a great thing. Warren Roberson was like the opposite of that, where it's just like, what it's on 24, like every single time, right? On special teams. But then I saw him in the Georgia game come in later and playing defensive snaps. And he was more attached on the hip of a receiver than any other corner I saw play football that night. And his coverage grade reflected as such from the Georgia game. I think he graded out like a 75 in coverage. Then you talk about the 53 snaps he played on defense in the Citrus Bowl. You just mentioned it earlier on defense. And he grades out at an 85 in coverage on Pro Football Focus. He is a night and day football player for whatever reason, from special teams to defense. And to me, and I said this when Muschamp was hired, I'm like, that's a Muschamp guy. Right. He fits Muschamp more than he does PK. Because he's not like a zone, like, to me, Kobe Black's more of a zone Richard Sherman type corner that he wants to face the quarterback. Warren Roberson's a dog, okay? He just wants to be attached to people, be physical, but he can run and keep up with guys. The problem is he gets too aggressive, and sometimes he doesn't know what he's doing. And I get frustrated with Banks in them more than I do with 24, because I'm like, at some point, y'all the ones that keep putting them out there on special teams. At some point, when is it you, coach? Why are you surprised that he got another penalty? But then I saw the brother running with dudes, and I'm like, wait a second. Is this one of those cases where he has a really dominant trait that y'all just didn't know? And now, what it leads to, Zay, though, is you have depth. Worst case scenario, you mentioned Kobe Black, you mentioned Cade Phillips, you mentioned Bo Masco. You need multiple corners. You have your nickel guys with Littleton and Wardell Mack, and that doesn't even mention Samari Matthews and Howard coming in, the true freshmen for this class as well. So when you factor them in, you now have a full room of real corners that I think will fit in Muschamp's room, but he needed a dog. And I agree with them pulling him back out of the portal. I'm glad Sark has changed his stance on that as well, going back to the Pivot podcast.
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on that, because there's exceptions. I wish he would have told those Pivot guys that then. You know what I'm saying? Because, he was trying to stand 10 toes down, and, A&M fans and OU fans, they took that clip, which, they saved the hell out of it. They saved the hell out of everything, because they just wait for the moment like, this fool lying. And I knew he was lying. When he said that, I was like, nah, that wouldn't be smart.
Arch jump in the portal today, you telling him to stay there? Really?
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on. There's exceptions, and that's okay. Like, I am not knocking Steve Sarkisian for reneging. I'm not. I can't. That's good coaching, in my opinion, because there's just some players that you should fight for, especially depending on what your roster is already at. So I feel like Warren Roberson, especially under Will Muschamp, like you said, has proven that, okay, we can make it work with this guy. Yeah, sometimes, the IQ, it ain't all there, especially on special teams. But if we put this guy in the right spots, and he's going to learn, he's going to continue to grow. He's one of these developmental guys that were here day one that has got it from the mud. And kudos to him for not transferring. And kudos to Brandon Harris and everybody involved for cutting out a deal to where everyone's happy, it seems like. But I love this get. And Blake Gideon coming back. We all knew that, but it's official today. Blake Gideon, he is back on campus with his 1 year in the ATL, which I guess Blake Gideon didn't go to Magic City much, because I feel like if he was at Magic City, I probably would have stayed. Probably would have stayed at Georgia Tech. I feel like a Georgia Tech coach at Magic City could clean up a little bit now. Thank goodness Blake Gideon, Leander, country boy, he didn't want no part of that. So maybe Atlanta was a little overwhelming, but I'm glad he's back, and him with Muschamp and Mark Orfe, hopefully we could get back to what we saw 2 years ago where they had Andrew Makuba and Johnny Barron.
It's interesting you talk about what appeals to Blake Gideon. It's kind of the conversation we were having yesterday about what appeals to these players coming to Austin. Not everything that Austin offers isn't for everybody. You need to appeal to the player. Well, same thing with Blake, right? He a country boy, and he actually is the one that behind the scenes actually helps relate to those type of kids, whether they're in his room or not, in terms of speaking to the culture at Texas of being a country boy, because he didn't only coach here, he obviously played here, right? And thrived here as a player. So I think the Georgia Tech thing is also one of those classic examples. For those of you in corporate America, you know where I'm going with this. Sometimes it's better to leave and come back right away and get a raise. Okay. Sometimes you got to leave somewhere. It's your best first and third job. You got to take the second job to get the bag coming back, because you notice he got the passing game title with this gig. I was paying attention to that. I'm like, what is his title going to be? Because that's going to be directly linked to compensation. Because a lot of people are saying, why would you pass up a defensive coordinator position to come back? Is it a step back? Blah blah blah. But in reality, I don't think he ever really wanted to leave. I think he really wanted to be here, but he knew he needs to boost up the resume a little bit. So I think he's going to be a better coach coming back and more equipped to handle the. Remember, he was kind of splitting it with Terry Joseph when he was here before, right? And there was always that conversation of, what is Joseph doing and what is Blake Gideon doing, and who's in charge of what. And then Gary Patterson kind of came and looked over him for a year, right? Like, you had all these things going on. But now, having run a whole scheme, having run a whole defense at a P4 level, and now being asked to do that with this secondary on behalf and as an extension of Will Muschamp, somebody who he played for and really helped inspire him to be what he is now today as a coach, I think that's going to benefit guys like Warren Roberson, who are dogs and they just need guidance. Okay. The coaching is what it is last year. There's a reason why a lot of those guys aren't back. So the guys like this that fit better. If Warren Roberson wasn't a dog in that Citrus Bowl, he wouldn't be back. They would have been like, bro, go ahead. But him and Wardell Mack were your highest graded defensive players in that game. Yeah. So I think it all works out.
And I got told by a source behind the scenes with Dwayne Aquina, it's tough for him to relate nowadays with this era of athlete. And back in 2005, hey, that's 20 years ago is a long time ago, y'all. A long time ago. And I was hyped about Dwayne Aquina coming back too, because I did fear of what happened, possibly happening of, okay, can he relate now? What does it mean? Because he was at Arizona, but that's not the standard of Texas. So what would it mean for him coming back? But also, the guy could coach. You can't, the guy's one of the best of all time at coaching the secondary. Big reason why DBU was DBU back during those Aaron Ross, Griff, Spencer Griffin, all those guys. So, you banked on that, and Steve Sarkisian not really missing on coaches very often, but there was a disconnect. And it sucks. It's a shame that's how Dwayne Aquina went out. That's how Texas fans might remember him more than what he really did. But the move had to be made. And to bring back that comfort that you have with Blake Gideon, even though you're bringing in somebody completely new in Will Muschamp, I think that's a big deal. I think that's a big deal. And kudos to Blake Gideon for understanding that, hey, maybe the grass just wasn't greener on the other side in Atlanta. I did what I wanted to do. It wasn't a good fit. This fits more for him. He's only 36 years old. I didn't even know that, Steven. It seems like Blake Gideon, he's been around so long, you would think he's in his 40s. But, it's just because he was a player, so you just assume he's been around so long. But the dude is really freaking young, man. And
developing as a coach.
Yeah, he's still developing as a coach. So for him to get that opportunity, it was decent. Georgia Tech, they gave a lot of teams a run for their money in a weak conference, but still, they were competitive. And now coming back, just him and Muschamp, the bond that they had, as you were mentioning, Mark Orfe being in, hopefully that could click opposed to what Terrence Joseph and Blake Gideon had. But Kobe Black coming back, Bo Masco coming over from Rutgers, I expect Jelani McDonald to take an even bigger jump. This year for Jelani McDonald, man, this is one of those years where if Caleb Downs could do the things that he does, why not you? I know that's saying a lot, but measurements-wise, Jelani
You might have too much dip on the chip there, Zay. No
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, if you look at his size, I know Caleb Downs is a once-in-a-lifetime player. I know that. But if I'm looking at size on size, Caleb Downs, who's stocky, he's stocky, but
Jelani's a hell of an athlete.
Right.
Hell of an athlete.
Absolutely. But I think Jelani McDonald, if he could figure it out, he's not too far off that. That's all I'm saying, especially for his pro, upside. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Jelani McDonald has so much talent, and him coming back under Muschamp, I think this year, could be an All-American season for Jelani for sure.
Well, and a season where I think he can sneak into the first round, especially if he puts the tape together. The NFL will like how much he is ramped. The one thing I love about Jelani, and this is what I say about kids that are real 5 stars, it isn't just being able to have those measurables coming out of high school and playing right away. It's also you improve at a faster rate. You scale faster than the average player, like significantly. For example, Arch Manning, right? Arch from August to November scaled. So it's like 2 seasons of development for somebody else. He was able to do it in 2 months, right? Jelani scaled now twice where he kind of came in here. We didn't even know what position he'd be. He might be an edge, might be a linebacker, he might be a safety, might be a nickel. He's a pretty good player in the 2024 team and became a starter and helped us after Derrick Williams had some injuries when Makuba got a little banged up, to one of our best defensive players in 2025. Those are big jumps. So to his credit, if he stays on the course that he's been on, he should have at least an all SEC season, no doubt about it, where he is unquestionably one of the best corners in the country, or safeties to your point, and just overall DBs, right, with all that he can do and the different positions that he's played. I do need to see the IQ and the comms and the communication. That's where Makuba, Taff, and Jade Barron excelled and became NFL darlings because of their ability. And we talked about this with Drew Fabianich yesterday, right, during the Senior Bowl, with Manny Muhammad improving and becoming more vocal. I need to see that from Jelani. I say this with my safeties all the time. If you see something, say something, okay? And I need to see that from Derrick Williams as well, Zay. So, if he can make those, because that was what Caleb Downs was doing as a freshman. That's that. You see what I'm saying? Like, where he could drop and tell everybody, yo, they about to run dagger. You drop down and take the end. I'm gonna take the post. Or whatever concept. Like, he could just do it, right? So I need to see this, because the physical, to your point, the traits, the size, the speed, the hitting, all of it's there, right? Yeah. So I need to see that part upstairs. For sure. And Blake Gideon and guys in Muschamp can help with that.
Yo, too much dip on the chip. Yo, that was hard. I ain't gonna lie. That's one of them ones, man. That's one of them ones, Steven. I can't even lie. Like, Texas Rocks, he know too. When you said that, I was like, oh shit, he put me on blast, bro. That's tough. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna steal the hell out of that.
Please do.
But that's. And I like how you mentioned Derrick Williams too, because I'm so happy that he's coming back. I've always loved that dude. Like, me too. And this might be ignorant of me to think this. I still think, I'm not saying Washington would have, lost that game, but Derrick Williams not being available in that Sugar Bowl, that 2023 season, as a freshman, because in the Big 12 championship game, he got suspended.
Oh, yeah, the first half he couldn't play.
Yeah. So he wasn't available for the first half against Michael Penix and them. I'm not saying Washington would have lost that game. I'm just saying him being available in that first half where Michael Penix got into a crazy rhythm, I think that would have been a little bit of a difference. That's how good Derrick Williams was his freshman year till his sophomore year before he got hurt. That injury really set him back.
Before he got hurt his sophomore year, he was playing at a very high level. I want people to understand there's a reason. Like, think about this. He was taking snaps away, and not in a bad way, but he was taking snaps from Makuba before he got hurt. And it wasn't in a bad, it was just like, damn, I can't not play this guy, right? Like, they were splitting their snaps. Makuba took over full time, obviously, after the OU game. The knee injury happened, and it sucked. But I said this with Derrick Williams, and this is the thing I like about him. He made his presence felt in every big game. Michigan game, the tip passes, the interceptions. He got a turnover. Even in the OU game, he got a turnover. He got a turnover every big game in 2024 that he played in, coming off of a very promising freshman year. And he showed the ability, again, to play multiple positions. The only thing he needed to catch up on as well was his vocal. Right. He was never really truly out of position a whole bunch of times, but it was just like, hey, it's kind of like what Jalen Ford went through in his transformation at middle linebacker. And I talked to his mother about this, and she was like, baby, you need to use your voice. Like, you're seeing stuff, and you're not talking. And the year that Jalen Ford started talking was the year he became All-American his junior year. Right. And it's the same thing with Derrick. And it's a confidence thing, too, because you're playing with some older guys. You're a young guy. You don't want to be wrong. So it's also getting, but Bakuba and Taff and Barron all had the same trainer down in San Antonio. Shout out to Bam. Yeah. And so they already were like, yeah, just yelling go to a Texas game. That's one thing being at the games you do see. You can hear the field comms clearly. And those guys talk nonstop and pre-snap. Derrick Williams and them, that's where I want them to get to. Y'all are older now. Yeah. There's no more young boy. You know what you're seeing. You're confident. Y'all are ball smart football players. We want to see great comms with them because they can fly around. And my last point with Derrick, he's now another year removed from that knee. Right. That's the only thing that was slowing him down last year. He wasn't bad last year, but he was just a guy last year.
Steps like behind from what he was. Like, did he really trust that knee? Mm-mm. You know, everybody always says, "Oh, he's cleared. He should be fine." Like, oh no, like y'all have never been athletes before. If you think that, because mentally, that can mess you up. Like you're thinking about, okay, if I make this one step, is my knee gonna give? Is my knee strong enough? Did all that rehab and training to prepare me to get back, has it all paid off? Or, you know, you're just so much mind games, man, to where you're not even thinking about your assignment. And that could be a dangerous game you're playing. And we don't know for sure if that's what was the issue, but you could tell he was
just watching him.
Player, yeah.
Just watching him. Yeah, turn on his 2024 film pre-knee. Yeah. Just watch him fill a lane. Yeah. He's a completely different guy. And and typically I say this all the time on my channel. I've only seen defensively I don't know, but on the offensive side, because this was a conversation with Baxter as well, I'm like, the only people I've ever seen like just feel so good on their knee post-surgery within the same year was Adrian Peterson and Jerry Rice. Everybody else needed a year. Everybody else.
Yo, man.
Everybody needed a year to just feel, because Javonte Williams, I'll give you an example, Cowboys running back. He got let go of Denver because they were like, bro, you ain't the same, bro. You ain't the same. And Cowboys got him on the discount. And it had been another year, I think it was like his second or third year removed from, he had a horrible knee injury. But this year you saw the power, the explosiveness, the cutting. He didn't need a brace even for practice. Like, he just felt better. Right. I think you saw that. You'll see that next year with Baxter at Kentucky. He's going to look better than he did this past year because he's another year removed. I tried to warn people about this with those two players in particular, of giving them grace, because I'm like, guys, they're not going to be 100% like you knew them to be pre-injury. They're not. Troy O'Meary, who still has eligibility somehow, he's still playing football because he needed multiple years. Right. So a lot of these guys just need time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, for one, Jerry Rice and Adrian Peterson, come on. Like, we're talking the greatest all time.
Right. Right.
You could argue Adrian Peterson. Nobody likes to say his name with Emmett and Barry Sanders and Jim Brown, etc. But Adrian Peterson, league of his own. So, yeah, those guys, they're anomalies. And it's like, I'm right there with you. These guys, it usually takes them a year, especially when the injuries are as significant as they were. And I know medicine's come a long way, but
it has.
Still.
It used to be a death sentence in like the 80s and 90s.
Oh, man. Yo, you tore your ACL in the 80s? They're saying you're never walking again type shit. They say, yo, you might be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. Like, it is, the worst possible news you can find, man. Yeah, don't get knee problems back then. It's just sad, man, because you think about you're a big NBA fan just like me, but like all the guys in the NBA, like I think of Yao Ming, if that foot injury wasn't an issue, or Grant Hill, who still
Chris Webber.
Wow. Yeah, Chris Webber. I love Chris Webber. Love those Sacramento Kings teams. And when he messed his knee up, Sacramento, like
done.
They were right there. Game 7, 2002 against the Lakers, the rigged series. They were right there. They just got Mike, but I had to say it, Steven.
The boys got Tim Donaghy.
Donaghy was such a snake. Donaghy was such a snake, man. I can't believe that stuff. That game 6, bogus. Absolute bogus. Yeah, Rob, you remember 02. I'll never forget Chris Webber's look before game 7 against the Lakers. It was in Arco. It was in Sacramento. You should feel good. You should feel great about your chances. But you're playing back-to-back champs. It's Shaq and Kobe. Chris Webber, he had his hand on his towel just like this. And he looked so defeated before even tip off. And it's just like, man, it's sad what them refs did. It's sad. And I want to get into the indictment that's happening in college basketball right now, which is crazy. Like, that's nuts. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, let's go on that in the back. That's crazy work over there. Brothers thought they could hide at the small schools. No, we got you.
Ignorant. Flat out ignorant. But, yeah, this secondary, Steven, because you expect Grayson Littleton. There's been a lot of talk on Grayson Littleton. Obviously, he had a terrific freshman year. They tested him a lot. I thought he did have a wall a little bit that he hit, but overall, you can't take
his ass off, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's odd because with what we saw with Wardell Mack in that Cheez-It Bowl, who 31 snaps, he had the best Pro Football Focus grade in that game at 89, which is incredible. It's weird that they didn't really give him a shot this season with what we saw in the Citrus Bowl. Now, I get it, the 15 practices from the end of the A&M game to the Citrus Bowl, coaches all the time say that those mean a lot. But also, it couldn't have been enough from what I saw in that game and how productive he was to not give him some reps during the season. I thought that was a little bit odd, but also with him coming back, I'm excited about him. And I'm excited about Grayson Littleton, but do you expect, and I want you to touch on both of those guys, could you see a move with Grayson Littleton as an outside corner instead of playing that nickel star position?
I actually was thinking about this before the pickup of Bo from Rutgers, because Grayson Littleton, one of the things that he showed the ability to do was play, again, man coverage, especially the Jeremiah Smith game. I mean, let's go back there, right? He's several different plays. He's running a deep over across the field, Jeremiah Smith, and Littleton is there with him step for step, stride for stride. That can translate to the outside. His confidence, Also, the ability to play on an island and be by yourself. I know he played inside, but that guy, to me, I felt like he had more outside traits than even Jalen Gilbo did. And I was always a little like just seeing him. I'm like, and from what I was hearing was, hey, yeah, they at some point he'll follow kind of that same path that Jade did with when he gets older, moving to the outside. So I could definitely still see that, especially if Wardell Mack presents itself. I think right now what you have, Zay, is options though,
Right.
right? Because there's also the size element, and I don't know where Muschamp stands on that. I think he's more looking at guys that can play a certain way, man and zone, but more physicality, playing more confident up. And also, you think about Georgia, right? Defensively, the type of coverages they ran against us that were successful was a lot of two-man, right? Two deep safeties and then man underneath with these guys just like dogs. Like you think about Dalen Everett, right? Like Ellis Robinson the fourth. Those guys are just, they're attached to guys, right? Like Raptors. So hence Derrick Williams' nickname, right? So I think that Grayson Littleton gives you the option to play both either way. That's something that they will need to sort out during the spring. But right now, Bo's coming in to be a starter, right? Case
You expect
Phillips,
Bo to be a starter?
I expect Bo to be a starter. I do, as
Okay.
of right now. But I'm not handing anything to anybody.
No, I get that for sure.
You see what I'm saying? Because no disrespect to the brother, but he was playing at Rutgers in the Big Ten. I mean,
That's Rutgers. Yeah.
I know your man coverage grades were solid, brother, but like, Grayson Littleton may have seen more bump, honestly. Even, you know what I mean? So you give yourself, I think the only person I can really kind of pencil in right now is Cade. Because I think Cade is he's a ascending asset that can play both man and zone very effectively. And I like his technique as a young player. I really, really do. Even in stuff he gave up, he was glued. Like when he gave up the touchdown to Noah Thomas, that was just because Noah Thomas was 6'6". That was great coverage on those touchdowns. Great coverage. I think Muschamp sees those things. I really do. And so Grayson Littleton, here's the thing. If I'm Wardell Mack, make the coaches make a decision. Because the tape is out there, just like Warren Roberson, both of them. The tape is out there. We can play. So if I give you the option of having this nickel that can also be, and it also seems like Wardell Mack, he seems to be a magnet to the ball. For somebody that's played such little snaps in his time at Texas, he seems to get interceptions. Yeah. Have you noticed this? Like even his first game as a Longhorn, he got a pick. So it's like the ball just seems to find him. I think there's value in that, Zay. You got to be in the right place to find the ball.
Yeah, I agree. He was in the doghouse a little bit before the season. I think he got in trouble with the popos, something like that. And, that can put you in the
Sounds like a Georgia prospect to me, brother.
See, we don't want that, bro.
That's upside for Coach Boom.
Yeah, Kirby Smart. He definitely has those type of dudes around there. But, yeah, Wardell Mack, in the games he has played, he's shown up. So I'm right there with you on just having options. Like I could care who starts. It's who finishes for me. Like everybody wants to know who starts and stuff. If it's not your day, it's not your day. My thing is for Kobe Black, for example, we saw after that Florida game, it seemed like they gave up on him. And I'm not for all that. Like, for one, Dallas Wilson, he won on the scouting report because how could he be? That was his first game as a collegiate player.
Yep.
And two, everybody was off in that game. Everybody.
And he was filling in for Manny at that point. Yeah, that was a really tough.
That's
scenario.
tough. And you heard Drew talk about Malik Muhammad yesterday, like how excited he is having him in the Panini Senior Bowl. Like Manny Muhammad is a decade-long Sunday player. I truly believe that. So not having them in that game, throwing Kobe Black to the Wolves, yes, he didn't do well, but also I didn't think he was that bad to where we didn't see him much until the A&M game, really. Mm-hmm. Like and he made plays.
Mm-hmm.
He made plays. Mm-hmm. So, and my thing is, I love Jalen Gilbo at the star position. I thought he was quietly solid with all the hype that Andrew Makuba, Michael Taft, and Jahdae Barron got, winning the Thorpe Award and whatnot. I thought Jalen Gilbo silently was really good at the nickel star position. Moving him to the outside this past year, that was a miss. So hopefully, he's going to be in the East-West game. Hopefully their scouts are going to see him more as a nickel and not look at his tape from this past year and see what he did his first 3 years and, before he got hurt and stuff. But that was a miss. And instead of making it work and maybe putting Jalen Gilbo back at nickel and giving Grayson Littleton, who I thought hit a freshman wall, some rest at times, and putting Kobe Black out there and still mixing it up with him and keeping his confidence up, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. And I really thought that was a miss from this coaching staff, whether it was Pete Kwiatkowski, Steve Sarkisian not saying anything. I don't know, but it took too long for Jalen Gilbo to get less snaps. And again, I'm not saying that they could have just put him at that nickel spot at times. But I'm also, it wasn't enough. It clearly wasn't enough. And they can't make that mistake this year with all the talent in that secondary.
No, and that's where I'm happy Gideon is back because he's coached and recruited a lot of these guys. Right, he may not have recruited all of them. I know Terry Joseph recruited many of these guys, but he's familiar and adjacent to them in a lot of ways. Right, like you're coming back. Derrick Williams was there when you were there. Mack was there when you were there. Roberson was there when you were there. Kobe Black was there when you were there. A lot of these guys were here when he was just with us in 2024. So again, Gideon being 2 years older, he's going to be he's going to be like a consigliere to Muschamp. And he should know, hey, I was in the room with these dudes. These were our guys, and this is who can do what you want, coach. And this is who's going to struggle, and this is who we may need to move the chess pieces around a little bit. Yeah. So that can help, because here's an uncomfortable thing I need to say to Texas fans. The offense really needs to pop off, because the defense, to me, I don't think it's realistic to think that with a massive scheme change like this, that they're going to be full go September. And that includes the Ohio State game. I do think that just like the defense had to carry the offense this past year early in the year, and the offense ramped. Now they ramped too late, but when they ramped. The offense is going to have to carry them early, because while we have star power, and I'm not saying they should be terrible. Okay, let me be clear, because some of you people here
taking it, run with it, Steven.
Right,
taking it.
They just take
Michael Johnson. They'll run with it.
Okay, now I got the Larry David fingers out here, so y'all need to listen. All right, but because some of y'all are hard of hearing, but they need time to also, they're going to need time to figure out who's who, and some of that stuff ain't going to come till the games. Just being honest with you. It's not. And so with all of this star power, whatever, something that can help get you there quicker is somebody like a Blake Gideon being there and coming back and saying, nah, he needs to be over here. I know what Akina tried to do. I know what they tried to do. Orphe as well being back. That combined should at least help break, the time cycle on how quickly they're ramped, right? Because ideally, we want to have that type of unit that we had in 2024 with the all. Like, I don't know if we'll see that again at Texas with all those guys just so good, top three, lock up, holding Jeremiah Smith to 3 yards in a bowl game type stuff. But we do want to make sure that secondary is also better married with our front seven and our pressure. Because we know Coach Boone bringing pressure. They ain't no more playing off and, let's wait and we might blitz 20% of the time.
So we're going to be 15 yards, away from the wide receiver. I just never understood that. I really didn't. I didn't think Pete Kwiatkowski was bad at all. I actually think he's a really good coach. There are just moments, very specific moments, where you had to scratch your head and you're like, that doesn't make sense. How the hell is Contravion Henderson taking this screen pass to the crib before half? That shouldn't happen in a game like this.
And you're pitching a beautiful game up until that point.
Yeah,
15 seconds and a half, they're just throwing a screen to see what they can get.
Yeah.
That's all they were doing. Everybody does that. Run a screen at that point in the field. I mean, Cristobal talks about Saban's book of what to do where you're at in 2 minutes. Literally, they had a whole fight about it. But that's what everybody does. You pop a little screen out there. They just try to see if they can get a field goal for a long field goal. They didn't think they were going to bust the 75-yarder. So, yes, stuff like that when you're playing, when you're kind of catching your opponent all the time. Muschamp, we know he ain't going to try to catch people, right? We are coming forward and trying to attack. But we also want to make sure that the back end is married with the heat that they're getting. So things are in alignment much more smoothly, right? And so it will take some time. It will take some time for them to be full tilt. Now, if they're good right off the bat, then expect them to be great at the end, right? Scaling, I think, is in-season development needs to be a thing with this defense as well.
Yeah. And, to Pete Kwiatkowski's defense, Ant Hill missing games, Michael Taft missing games, that doesn't help anybody. These are two of your most important players on your defense, but still, that conservative defense, nah. And like you said, Will Muschamp is not going to be anything close to that. It's just not his style. So them figuring out that personnel as quick as possible, that's going to be beneficial. And this offense, man, which all in, we've seen that, bringing
offense all in, bro.
Yeah, absolutely all in. So as you said, putting up a lot of points early to make this adjustment defensively with a new scheme and stuff, it's going to be pivotal. And just that chemistry that Arch could build with Cam Coleman and, Raleek Brown and obviously Hollywood Summers. I'm very curious to see what Cam Coleman and just the rest of these players talent-wise, what does this mean for Ryan Wingo? Because I still marvel him accepting this role. You're a number 2, dog. No ifs, ands, or buts. You're a number 2. And maybe that's just because I'm from the era where the wide receiver is the most diva MFer alive. Jerry Rice, in my opinion, is an anomaly. He was suit and tie, buttoned up, not a distraction, greatest of all time. But there was the T.O.s, the Randy Mosses, you know what I'm saying? I always, when I picture wide receiver, I expect a little diva to come with it. So Ryan Wingo, he could have been in the portal. I'm sure they let him know early, we're going after Cam Coleman. So understand what that means for you, bruh. Understand that last year had some good moments, had some tough moments. We want to get the ball in your hands. We went to you a lot. And there were times in clutch time situations, that ball ended up hitting the turf. Good passes, too. So for him to understand that he has to get better and that he's now a number 2 wide receiver, I marvel him for that. I really respect that because he didn't have to do that. He would have been a very hot commodity in the portal. He would have got paid buku money in the portal, which I'm sure he's getting paid buku money here. I see him in Sonic commercials and all that. But Ryan Wingo, now as the number 2 guy, like Robert's saying here, that pressure, maybe that pressure is going to help him out to where he can play more free. And clearly he's going to have more open opportunities due to Cam Coleman and Arch also being a lot better than he was this past year.
I completely agree, and I think pressure. Let's redefine pressure too, right? Because I think there's going to be positive pressure on Ryan Wingo. As this comment, the comment from Kane Adams, where he said Wingo was involved in the recruitment. You got to remember too, Ryan Wingo and Cam Coleman were the same class, right? That 2024 class. They're very familiar with each other. They're both top tier guys with Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. That was a special receiver class. And we're still missing some names that are also very productive receivers. Several things here. Ryan Wingo has an outstanding relationship with Arch Manning. This is much of a test for Wingo as it is for Arch. I think this is a great showcase to the NFL of handling egos, handling very talented receivers. This is as well as a test for the staff. What people don't realize sometimes is when you get like a freaking all-star team, like this team of Avengers they've assembled on offense, talent-wise on paper, you still got to coach them.
Yeah.
And it can be difficult trying to keep everybody happy and on board and making the necessary sacrifices and playing for one another. The good thing is, no better person than Steve Sarkisian, in my opinion, based upon his time at Bama, where he had multiple first-round picks at wide receiver playing together. Remember, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, all of these people were in one offense together, okay? And they made it pop and made it work. But somebody had to accept the fact that you might only have 700 or 800 yards this year. But you know what? I'm just saying, bro.
That's a good year.
That's a good year, but like somewhere else, if you're just being force-fed targets, right? Especially now because all the stats have come down.
Yeah.
By the way, because of the clock and of so many different factors.
So
you're not seeing you're not seeing like people just throwing for 4,000 like they used to. Honestly, the stats have come down. So even the 1,000-yard receivers, it was only like 20 kids that had a 1,000-yard season in college football this year. It's not that many people. But my point is, like, Ruggs had like, I think 700 or 800 yards receiving his last year at Bama, but he was the 11th pick in the draft, and the yards meant something. They were always big plays, but the ball was going all over the place. When it became Devontae Smith and John Mechie. John Mechie had a good season with the Heisman year, but he was the second role. But it was okay. I mean, he still went third-round pick or whatever. Ryan Wingo, this is an opportunity for him also to be used in the most creative ways possible. He's great after the catch. He's a great athlete. Using him as such, right? I've said the kid at TCU that was one of the 1,000-yard receivers, Eric over there, that would just take slants and house them. Those are the type of opportunities Ryan Wingo's going to have because of all the attention Cam Coleman is garnering. So I think it's on everyone. This is good pressure to have in the room, and it also he's still needed. We're also in a era now in football where you have a lot of two receiver tandems. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. LSU, you had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson coexisted with no problem, right? Mm-hmm. No problem. Somebody had to be technically the two. Could you even say who it was? Nah. Right? So eat. You have Arch back there. You have this brainiac coach that wanted to offload responsibilities to somebody else because he said he needed to cook even more. So I don't want to hear any excuses about pressure and all this type of stuff. Y'all need to cook. Y'all been together for a minute. This is your third year in the offense. You know what you need to work on. Get some more consistency with your hands. I used to think that he was just a body catcher, Wingo this was, until he started making contested catches at the end of the year. He started getting better with his hands. Yeah. You saw it too, Zay.
Yeah, it's like he has one good drop a game. Like he'll have one pivotal drop that you'll remember. He had a couple against Georgia. And then he'll have some catches where you're like, okay, that's different.
I'll give you another example, Zay. 2023. Give me that. Didn't Worthy and A.D. Mitchell coexist? Yeah. Worthy got 1,000 yards. A.D. Mitchell had 12 touchdowns. And A.D. Mitchell, outside of that damn sabotage the last week of the draft, would have been a first-round pick. Yeah. They both would have gone in the first round. and they both ate. Yeah. So there's enough room for both of them to coexist. And even if they want to go at it this way, because this is I think is healthy too. The first thing CeeDee Lamb did when George Pickens came on the Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb went out of his way and said, this isn't 1 and 2, this is 1A and 1B. We both ones. That's the mentality you should have. We're both dangerous, right? And we have a quarterback that can feed both of us. And both of them got over 1,000 yards this year. Yeah. So that's the mentality I think that would be healthy competitively and for both of them to do what they need to do. And to the other point in the comment here, Ryan Wingo's personality, he isn't that type of typical diva receiver, but sometimes I need that dog in you, bro.
Right.
Sometimes I need that persona in you, bro.
Yeah. No, it's a weird balance. It's a weird balance. At the end of the day, the T.O.s, the Randy Mosses, Chad Ochocinco's, they all just wanted the ball. It's not like they didn't want to win, but they were smart enough to know we have a better chance of winning if I get more looks and I get more touches because I'm that good.
I'm our chance to win. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that.
So it's a weird balance, but yeah, kudos to Ryan Wingo, big part of Cam Coleman's recruitment and them being in the same class. Like, that's a big deal because they've seen each other a lot going to these camps and, 7-on-7. And it's just so much different than it used to be. Back in the day, guys were rivals and stuff. And now you can still be rivals, but also still have good relationships and friendships with guys, too, that clearly benefit in times like this. So, yeah, I'm not 40 a game. You got to put them 40 a game.
Dude, think about it this way too, right? Like, I'm really thinking about 2023 in my head because we had almost every pass catcher in that offense get drafted. Remember, they had another beast at tight end they had defeated, Jatavian Sanders, that had 500-600 yards himself and was a premier red zone target as well. He had to be fed. Jordan Whittington was playing in the slot. He got drafted. Everybody ate. So I'm like, that's how Mosley should be thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's going to need his work. He's going to need his targets. Only now you got a quarterback in Arch who's ascending so much. I think he's going to be able to know where to go or who's hot or who has let's play matchup ball.
Yeah.
Hey, today Mosley going to eat today because that nickel sucks. And they're going to be so preoccupied with Coleman and Wingo that Mosley might pop off with 12 catches today. Like, that's going to be on Arch ultimately because he's the one pulling the trigger.
Yeah. Yeah, I need him to slide more, though. I'm going to need that. Now, I understand Cheez-It Bowl, last game of the season, put it all on the line.
Hey, he had to flex on him, though.
I respect that, but you saw the way he was getting up. You saw the way that it's like a car and the gas just goes out on that 60-yard run that he had. Like, when he hit the 10, you just saw everything. Like, if this was a longer run, I would have passed out right here. He was feeling it in that game. He's got to be smarter here. And he was smart, and he's a tough guy. He's physical. He doesn't get hit in the pocket that often. But, he did because the offensive line was bad. But even then, like, it's hard to get him down. You know what I'm saying? And he started to really maneuver around the pocket way better as the season went on. So if he has that with an improved offensive line, like we told y'all yesterday, news broke where offensive lineman from Wake Forest, 6'6", 302-pounder Melvin Siani signed with Texas yesterday. 17 starts at left tackle, 7 starts at right tackle. So the dude is versatile. So we expect the offensive line to be better. But Arch still makes moves. When the offensive line was bad, he was still making plays and getting out of situations that a lot of quarterbacks around the nation just can't do because they're not that size, they're not that athletic, and his ability to still look up down the field, I really think Cam Coleman, Ryan Wingo, Emmett Mosley, Jermaine Bishop, Lockett, whoever the hell you want to name, I think this year they're really going to benefit from Arch making plays when they got the superstar players around them.
You know what's so fascinating with Arch is his strength was like the hardest thing to teach quarterbacks at the pro level, which is playing and working and navigating a dirty pocket. He played out of a dirty pocket so often and had such a low sack rate still. Didn't have turnover problems. He only threw 7 interceptions this whole season and was playing with all sorts of chaos around him. His issue was consistency and making the layups, right? It's kind of like what you see with like Caleb Williams right now at the Bears, where he can make all the impossible plays. But it's like, bro, you just need to hit the crossing route and you're like sailing it over the guy's head when he's wide open and you're clean. Like if he can just clean those things up in the sidearm stuff, he's got the hard, we don't know if this guy can even ever do it. He already is great at it.
Right.
At the subtle shift, at navigating the pocket. So that's one thing. The second thing is Arch Manning, thank God, was blessed with the Wolverine Manning gene of healing factor and just being healthy. First Texas quarterback to make every start since Sam Ehlinger. That was a big deal, right? Because Steve Sarkisian, his entire time here up till Arch, always had to play his backup, at least start him at least 2 games every year until Arch. So his uncles, Eli and Peyton, both top 5 all-time in consecutive starts in NFL history because they're big guys and strong, and they got that build, but they also knew how to always navigate the pocket and at least minimize the damage. So he is taking more risks, to your point, because he's a runner as well. He's a playmaker. Arch is a playmaking quarterback. But I do think that he at least he will start to have better discernment on how he treats his body, to your point, Zay, run him down the field and, when to take those shots and when to take those risks.
Yeah, that's a good point you made about Peyton and Eli, because those dudes both slow as molasses, yet they didn't get hit much. And if they did, the ball was already gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just – I know Peyton had that brutal neck injury, but overall, Peyton wasn't in the tub very often. And same with Eli. Like, during his tenure in New York, if he was on the roster, he was playing. Mm-hmm. So those genes, man, it's impressive. It's impressive because I forgot about that stat. CB always throws us that stat every year when somehow that topic comes up, especially due to Quinn Ewers, being in and out of the lineup throughout his career. But it's not very often that Texas quarterback starts and finishes the season and not miss any games. And for Arch to do that, that says something. So, I'm excited about checkdowns this year. Like, just a check down game to Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers. Those guys, they're going to make that first dude miss. Like, you better have that chin strap buckled up tight if you're a defender and you're trying to tackle these dudes in the open field, because that difference, worried about Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo down the field, and all of a sudden you check down to those explosive backs. That's going to be something different. As good as Contravian Wisner was, he just didn't have that. He was, just more of a bruiser back, one of those backs that you can give the ball like we saw against A&M 2 years ago, 30 times a game. I ain't trying to give either one of these backs the ball 30 times a game. They're just a little too light in the ass for that. But combined, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Both of those guys combined, 30 touches. If you could get away with that, oh, man, yes. Like you're saying, Steven, this offense, they could put up enough points so this defense won't have all the pressure on them trying to adjust to Will Muschamp.
And you're making the defense play to their strengths. I want Colin Simmons to be able to hunt people down because they got to throw. You can't hide today. You can't play keep away because our offense only has 14 points. As the great Floyd Mayweather used to say, get them in the deep brown so we can drown these people because they can't swim over here. You got to get the scores into the 30s. Let's get back to roll out of bed 30-point Sark. How about that? Because when you're at that point and you're up 31-17 on somebody or 31-10 or whatever, they got no choice. The problem was last year we did that to like Vanderbilt, for example. Remember coming out of the third quarter, we're up 3-4 scores, and Pavia and them had to abandon the triple option. Remember, they just started throwing go routes to Stowers and seams and all that type of stuff. But we, for whatever reason, that's where PK gets that heat. But under Muschamp, if I'm preparing to play that way and really get after it and really see what these pass rushers can do, that's where everybody wins, and we truly are playing complementary footballs, eh? That's complementary football. When we know, hey, we about to jump on these dudes, right? And they have to abandon their plan. They have no choice, or else they're going to get blown out. And now it gets everybody in the game. The other thing with the backs, I'm curious to see how Jaluk navigates the touches with Rayleigh and Smothers and Hollywood Smothers, because one of the things we saw with Tashard Choice his last year here, when he had Jaden Blue and Trey Wisner, was they both had, I think, 40-something catches. Both of them. So you had 80 receptions to your two running backs. Now, was that more of the offense we were running with Quinn Ewers? I think that was part of it because we were more screen heavy. Quinn was better at the underneath stuff and the intermediate. Arch is more aggressive downfield. So I do think we won't throw that volume of passes. But to your point about the touches, both of those guys are pass catching running backs as well as what they do in the explosives. That just opens up the entire field for you, right? And so if people are really going to start getting scared and playing off and all this type of stuff, and they're worried about Wingo, worried about Coleman, those dump offs become super dangerous, and that's a ton of mileage you get out of it with those guys being so explosive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still think there's room for Derek Cooper. Like, I think that dude, if you could have multiple backs, like I like 4 backs playing. I'm not saying you split 4, different backs just getting reps. That's difficult to do. But I think Derek Cooper could still come in and make some noise and be a
work
threat.
him in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously pass protection is always a freshman's
and ball security.
Yeah, ball security, pass protection. That's always a struggle for these high school backs coming in, because when you get the ball every time, who am I pass protecting from? Like that doesn't. Back in high school, I'm touching it 30 times a game. So when we drop back, I'm going out for routes. I'm not pass protecting nothing, because these high school coaches know we got to put it in the hands of our best players, especially if they are the caliber of player that's going to get a full ride to the University of Texas. So they got to learn some things. Jabbar Jaluk, I'm interested to see how it goes with him, because I didn't think Chad Scott was that bad. I think he got dealt a bad hand with this offensive line. Drew Fabianich, he came on our show right when he got let go, because him and Chad Scott can't go back. He was like, this is a weird deal. Chad Scott's good. And he thought it was because of, Jabbar Jaluk and the whole Jaden Ball situation. He was like, we're firing coaches for players now. Drew was on one that day. But I didn't think Chad Scott was that bad. I thought this offensive line was that bad. I thought Kyle Flood was that bad. And due to the injuries with C.J. Baxter and Katravian Wisner early, it was hard to just get those guys, James Simon and Christian Clark. Like, it was hard.
Jared Gibson.
Yeah, Jared Gibson, which that was a weird deal. But either way, you knew your main 2 guys were C.J. Baxter and Katravian Wisner, and you were banking on that, which this was a miss for them too, because everybody should have been prepared. But either way, you were banking on those 2. They get hurt early. The offensive line sucks. Arch is struggling. So it was a huge setback for everybody. It's hard for me, Steven, to put that on Chad Scott. Clearly there was a disconnect, enough for him to go. Now he's with Neil Brown and Denton with North Texas. But how much more growth is Jaluk going to bring? Like, how much more of an improvement is Jaluk going to bring? Because it's so easy to blame Chad Scott from the outside looking in, and Sark not having a 1,000-yard rusher for like the first time in his career. But if you really watch Texas football, you knew it was way beyond the running backs, and that was because the offensive line was such a struggle.
Now, if you put Chad Scott on the stand, Nino Brown style, he would tell you it's way bigger than me. Okay,
way bigger than Nino Brown, baby.
Hey, it's the whole CMB operation. I just want to, it's the smart brother from the bank back there. That'd be Chad Scott. But I do think, in all seriousness, I think it's as much, from what I understand, it's as much personality and just energy. Tashard Choice I think they underestimated what he was bringing to them day to day. And from what I've heard, Chad Scott, personality wise, is kind of more like Chris Jackson, low key, good communicator and everything, but was just still learning what was going on. He just kind of got thrust into this, and there's a lot going on. But Jaluk, one of the things I heard with the bowl game is immediately he's on the field. Like, he's loud, there's an energy, there's just, and that's what they prefer with their, now again, that does not account for everything on the field and all this other stuff, but I do think that's what their preference is, and they're entitled to feel as such. And he's obviously highly regarded, as well as his ties, right? His recruiting ties. Tashard Choice, remember, was a volume recruiter here at Texas, like Jeff Banks, and was, Derrick Williams Jr. isn't back if not for Jaluk, because of their Louisiana ties. That's a big deal. So, there's some more that goes into it, just of having somebody kind of carry a little bit more weight than just a running back coach, right? But with that being said, they need to give him some input on the run scheme, right? Not just coaching the backs in the offense, but because that was one thing Tashard Choice wanted before he left, was after the Ohio State game, he was pissed. He's like, I want say in the blocking scheme too. If my guys are running behind this, I want say in what y'all teaching in that room. And they kind of pushed back against that a little bit. And so it led to some friction. I think they might be more open to it now with Jaluk in the building saying, nah, we gonna run it this way, right? And being a lot more demonstrative on those details, right? Same offense and everything, but just the how-tos. So I think that's a big factor in there as well.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because folks ate me alive when I said Tashard Choice. I felt like he's a little disgruntled with how that Ohio State game went.
He was pissed. Like,
you're right there on the 1-yard line. We can't put it in there. What's going on?
His guy got one carry in, because the other sweep, that sweep don't count. I don't count that. I'm talking about, like, in terms of between the tackles, less rock. He got tackled for a 1-yard gain, and then he didn't get the ball again.
Yeah. BK put that, because I had my take on that, and I was like, man, that's absolutely bogus. That has to be a reason why he left. BK cut that up, put it out on social media. It went viral for us, and people went at my head. Like, where it wasn't even about sports no more. This black motherfucker, I'm like, whoa, damn, my mama sees this, which I don't care. I love that stuff. Like, if they ain't hating, then you ain't doing it right. That's how I look at it. But even then, I was like, man, y'all going in. Like, this is just my perspective on it, because it's weird. It's a weird situation. And they're trying to replace it. Again, okay, Chad Scott, he might have been a little more introverted, but either way, 1 year, it's hard for anybody to do anything in 1 year.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of scapegoated a little bit. I mean, let's just call it spade to spade. Let's kind of scapegoat
Flood is just clean. Kyle Flood is just dodging these bullets. Like, bullet for Pete Kwiatkowski, Kyle Flood. Bullet Dwayne Akina, Kyle Flood. Like,
there's nowhere to hide this season, brother.
Zero place to hide. You got to figure it out. But he is Steven and Gotti from Fanatic Perspective, rocking and rolling with me, Zay Collier, here on Chip and Zay. Chip Brown will be back on Monday. I see some of y'all saying in the comment section, Chip is on load management. No, he has some big interview. Such a big interview that he has to go out of town for it. So I'm very eager to how that, who it is, how it went, and Chip will be back on Monday to talk about it all. But until then, let's get to this Covert Bee Cave sponsor. Covert Bee Cave, best car dealership in the land, been doing it for over 100 years, and they do it well. Trust me, I know. Wifey and I got our Buick Encore GX there. We're going to take it out tonight. Tonight's our anniversary. Can't wait. We'll be rocking and rolling. It's beautiful.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Marriage is a beautiful thing, and I found my one. So yeah, excited about that. We're gonna be in the Buick Encore GX, man, and feeling good about it. And if you don't want to take my word for how great Covert Bee Cave is, listen to these wonderful folks of Covert Bee Cave.
You see Covert everywhere. That personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
No one beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever. All right, Steven. Appreciate y'all congratulating your boy. Yeah, marriage is a beautiful thing.
How many years?
4 years, man.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah. Very excited about that. Yeah, we love here on Chip and Zay. I say that all the time. We love here, and yeah, it's good. It's really, really good. So, all right, enough about me, enough about my wife, enough about anniversary, because there's more things I got to get into here with you, Steven, because I'm looking at just what's happened these last few days in the transfer portal involving the Texas Longhorns. And I saw last night Michael Terry is now coming back for Texas. And he's just one of those guys that I can't put my finger on. Like, what is he? Is he a running back? Is he a receiver? Like, which one is it? Because the measurables, terrific. 6'3", plus 200 pounds. You saw him get, a cup of coffee in that Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, but you didn't see much. They gave him a weird carry. It didn't really make sense for the flow of the game. He was in on that play where they fake the quarterback sneak and they throw it between the legs and Arch takes it. He was lead blocking on that, did a decent job there. But overall, he didn't play. I don't know what his role is going to be this year. I don't even know if he's going to have a role. But for him to come back tells me that they have something in store for him. He is buying in to what Steve Sarkisian and the rest of his coaching staff is selling. And again, what does that mean for him as a position? What does that mean just for the rest of his future? It's just weird. And I'm not saying I wanted him to be in the transfer portal. That's not what I'm saying. I kind of expected him to be in the transfer portal. I'm not going to lie. I did. We're picking up Cam Coleman and stuff, and they're keeping Khalil Lockett. Dalen McCutcheon's still there. Like, it's still a very deep wide receiver room. Jermaine Bishop's supposed to come in. So I just don't know what to expect from Michael Terry this upcoming season. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so Terry is somebody who I get the pleasure of, at least because of the local ties from San Antonio and some of the people down there, Alamo Heights, and people that really know the Terry family. I never expected him to enter the portals. He's not. They're built a little different. They really enjoy him being close to home. They knew, because of the fact that this is where awareness does matter, self-awareness. They knew, because he played literally every position under the sun in high school, it was going to be kind of like, hey, even defensively. Muschamp was kind of saying, hey, you could come this side and play some safety or linebacker, blah, 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 but he will stay on the offensive side. And from my understanding, he will start off at least spring practice in the running back room. My feedback to some of those people over there has been, because he's never settled on any position and he's always been asked to be this jack of all trades out of necessity, he doesn't have that refined training yet at any position because he's had to play every position. But he's an incredible athlete that Texas needs to figure out a way to get mileage out of, that can do some very unique things that Sark doesn't have outside of him on this roster. I expect him to start in the running back room. Luke, from my understanding, advocated for him to stay in the running back room because he said, I don't have anybody else with your body type. And the way that he runs potentially could be in the mold of a more upright Derrick Henry, Dickerson type runner. Again, he's not that talent or player. That's not my point. But in terms of his body type, that's how he will be at least coached, right? Here's the other thing. H-back, certain positions, things that one of the pitches to him initially was, hey, Sark being so close to Sean McVay, I want to kind of use him like a Puka Nacua, on the move. Somebody mentioned Little Jordan Humphrey. For those that don't remember, Little Jordan Humphrey didn't play. He was more of a running back at South Lake Carroll, remember? But he was a 6'4" running back. And it could be awkward for people. And at Texas, it was like, where do we play this guy? And then eventually, out of necessity, he became a slot receiver. So Michael Terry, I really say this with UT fans. Be patient, because he is patient. His family is very patient. And they're here for the long game. And I do believe, now when I say long game, I'm talking about like not 3-4 years. I'm talking about this year there needs to be some return, right? And by next year, hopefully he has an identity of who he is as a football player. I want this kid to be a star because him speaking and his attitude about football reminds me of Bijan and Roshan so much. He is a kid, he's a very, handsome young man. He's a very well-spoken young man. He's going to get probably a couple different degrees at Texas. He's super smart. If you've ever heard him speak, you're like, whoa, is that guy in political science? Or what's going on? Seriously, he can really speak. He can be a pitch guy. And he's a big kid. I think he's now over 220 pounds. They just need to figure out what his home will be. But from everything I've heard, he will start in the running back room. I know he was projected to be more of a receiver, but right now his path to the field, I think, is more of being kind of a move player still for Texas and being utilized in a way like a little Jordan Humphrey or a hybrid running, because Puka takes a lot of carries and he sometimes will be like a move tight end in a way. Those are some things that they can do, because Texas, we should talk about holes right now, because they still have some holes. They don't have a pass catching tight end. They don't. So that, I'm just saying, not that's proven. There's people that can catch passes, but there's no proven Jack Injuries or Gunnar Helm or Jatavian Sanders on this, my knowledge, on this roster right now. I like Nick Towson. I like Masunas. I like some of these other guys. I like Amari Winston. But to me, they're more, physical blocking. That's how they've been used. Yeah. And he kind of used Nick Towson more in that role this past year, honestly, in some of those things. But Michael Terry has the ability to give you a lot offensively. They just got to find what that balance is. But Jaluk put his hat on the table and said, I want him to stay in my room. There was never a question.
Yeah, that means something. It definitely does. What I don't like is why the hell we have him at wide receiver this whole past season, and now we have him at running back. I wish they could have figured it out earlier. Mm-hmm. Now that they're doing that, because I'm sure, like you said, he's a terrific young man where he understands the process and has a good family behind him, and not crazy ass uncle that's going to try to get in the way with things. I think
where our carries at?
Yeah.
Where our touches at?
Man, I thought you had a tackle, Kinfolk. I thought you had a tackle. I know you best. And they don't. Hopefully he doesn't have that. So that's good. That's good, because they need to find a position for him and have it stick. I'm still kind of salty of how they use Ryan Niblett this past year. I thought it was weird to see what he did on special teams and not try to give him the ball more on offense, especially with the difficulties the offense had in moving the chains at times. Like, I know Ryan Wingo's a gadget guy, Ryan Niblett is a gadget guy, but damn, man, just put the ball in his hands. He can make plays. And I said the same thing about Silas Bolden the year prior. Like, both of their last punt returners have been so dynamic and explosive that I figured they should have earned more playing time on offense. And Sark just never gave him those chances. Like, it was very odd. Silas Bolden more than Ryan Niblett. It's just very odd to see that talent and not want to figure something out with that. Both of them guys. So Michael Terry scares me. When those tweener guys, where it's like, dude, you could do something with them, but you'll have to figure it out. And I think, and Sark has time to redeem himself with Ryan Niblett. Like, you could use him a lot this year. I hope he's included in the offense somehow. Maybe not as much since you have so much more talent than you did a year ago. But just last year, it didn't make sense, and it didn't make sense with the Silas Bolden thing either.
Yeah, I thought Niblett would at least be like a Keelan Robinson, right? In terms of, some of the motion stuff that they did. And they tried a couple times. Niblett, some of the opportunities that he did get on offense, either the blocking fell apart on a reverse or it was just obvious. That's the other thing too. When 21 comes in the game, it can't just be so obvious that he's just getting the ball, right? It just makes it really easy to key defensively. So some of these guys also have to be able to be a decoy, blocking, doing normal running back things. So it doesn't just tip the defense off that if you're in the game, you're getting the ball because that's all you can do. That's all you know. So that's a part of it. The other thing too is just sometimes game flow gets away from you and bad beat. And that was some feedback I got on the Citrus Bowl of why Michael Terry didn't get more opportunities. Christian Clark popped off early and got into a rhythm early. And so they're like, Jaluk's like a kind of hot hand guy. He's like, yo, if my back get going, I'm going to ride him. And then the other problem that happened was he wanted to really focus on using Terry in between the 20s. And we had 2 pre-snap penalties when he got in that had nothing to do with it when he was going to get the ball. Like somebody jumped. And then you had the one play where we ran the thing under center. So he was a decoy. And so he only ended up with 1 short yardage carry on a 3rd and 1 or something. That was it. The rest of it was, hey, we had planned to kind of split this between you and Clark. And Clark got going immediately in that game. And I think it's going to pay off for him as he cashes out in the portal. But, some of that is.
By the way, he signed with South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Today.
Cool. I hadn't heard. So good for him.
Yeah, he at the Texas South Carolina women's basketball game yesterday, they interviewed Shane Beamer, and you could see Christian Clark sitting close to him. I was like, okay, yeah, and he committed late last night. So,
I'm rooting for him.
I'm rooting for him too. I'm still kind of salty that he's in the portal. Now, I understand it with Smothers and Brown on campus, but that game that he had in the Citrus Bowl, it gets overshadowed by what Arch did, but he was good. He was good.
Against a very good run defense by Michigan, too.
Right.
Top 15 rush defense.
Right. Now, we know they got all their problems, with their horny-ass coach. Now Kyle Whittingham has to come in and clean all that up. But, yeah, their defense is still competitive. And Christian Clark, he did his thing. And I wanted him to come back, but I think he saw the writing on the wall. I'm sure the money's good in South Carolina. I'm sure he's going to get a lot of opportunities to be the guy there for Shane Beamer, who is probably a hot seat year for Shane Beamer, but you're playing with Lenora Sellers and stuff. So, hey, we'll see what happens there. All right, Steven, let's get a little basketball talk in. I guess I got to talk about this women's basketball team who lost last night to South Carolina, 68-65. Another close one against the Gamecocks. Seems like every game these two teams play, it's always close. You know, Vic Schaefer, Don Staley has his number. Vic Schaefer's beat her twice since he's been at Texas, I think, or at least the last 6 times they've played, which is in the last 2 years. And Don Staley's got them 4 times. So this team's getting worse, unfortunately. Like the hot start that they had early on. And look, I understand LSU, South Carolina, playing them on the road. A lot of teams will lose that game, but you could see the signs of what to be concerned about moving forward for this women's basketball team, because I've been saying it all year. If Vic keeps playing the big 3, that's Rory Harmon, Jordan Lee, Madison Booker, if he keeps playing them 35-plus minutes a game, that's not good. They're going to wear down. I don't care if you're the most conditioned team in the nation. The style that Vic Schaefer plays, which it's up-in-your-face defense, there's just a lot of running involved. You're going to wear down. And Jordan Lee, she hasn't been good these last 2 games. She hasn't been good from the arc. Like, she's their only 3-point shooter. Ashton Judd, supposed to be a big-time 3-point shooter. Somehow she's in the doghouse because she wasn't good on Sunday against LSU. Vic barely played her yesterday, and when he did play her, she was a liability. She gave up a huge 3 where her and Madison Booker had a miscommunication. It led to Tessa Johnson getting the shot off, and you saw they won by 3. So any late 3 late in the game is a big deal with the score being what it is. But it's very confusing how the roster and now the rotations are being formed. And they need Aaliyah Crump back, but now they're not getting much from Justice Carlton, so the power forward position is a struggle. Kyla Oldegger didn't play well yesterday. She was good against LSU. So this team, they might have peaked way too early, and I hope that's not the case. But the SEC is a gauntlet, man. Like, you just lost to LSU and South Carolina. Kentucky's good. Vanderbilt's good. You still got to worry about Tennessee. Oklahoma, they're a top 10 team. So you got all these teams that can beat you. And if you're wearing down because you're fatigued, that's not good. And I thought Vic, and I said this to Chip the other day, I thought Vic really messed up by not moving his lineups around earlier in the season when games didn't matter to see which lineups fit. Because last night he had to take Jordan Lee out the game because she fouled out. Now you got Brianna Preston running your 2, and she missed a lot of time due to injury, and she's not used to playing alongside Rory Harmon right now because you just didn't try that. You didn't try that out enough earlier in the season. So you definitely don't want to try it out against South Carolina. And I thought that was the same thing against LSU when Madison Booker got into foul trouble early. And then he ended up taking Rory Harmon out the whole 4th quarter, which was a weird thing. So Vic's all over the place right now. He's all over the place. And he's trying to send messages, which I get. You saw Sean Miller. He sent a message to his team, and his team responded. So now that, Texas women's basketball is struggling, Vic is trying to send messages to his ball club to get that light bulb to click, but hasn't been successful yet. So they got A&M coming into town on Sunday. They should get back in the win column there. But this women's basketball team, I think Texas fans have a right to be concerned moving forward just because they seem fatigued. And if he doesn't start rotating players and saving Madison Booker and saving Rory Harmon and saving Jordan Lee more, so when March comes around, they're as fresh as they can be, I think it's going to continue to catch up with him if he continues to play those girls so many minutes.
It's a tough task too, because they're so, with the Crump injury, they were supposed to have a little bit more scoring and shooting, and now they're very, very limited as well. And I'm just big in 2026, women's basketball, men's basketball, same thing, of being able to space the floor and stretch the floor. And right now, I mean, Texas was they hit 1-3 yesterday. Yeah. 1 for 9. And that was, they were ranked, 350th in three-point shooting last year as a Final Four team. And now you're still in a situation where offensively, and it's not, 68-65 isn't even a terrible score, honestly, on the road versus number 2 South Carolina in totality. But when you look at 22 turnovers, you're not hitting, you have there's no fear outside of Jordan Lee. Who else is? Rory Harmon is not a shooter. You know what I mean? So many of these girls are playing, 17, 15 feet in. It makes it easier for a big athletic team that has a lot of body. The thing about Dawn is she's going to have multiple athletes coming in on that front line. She's going to throw, she threw the 6'7" chick out there last night.
Yo.
They got bodies for days, yo. And so to combat some of that size, you got to be able to shoot from the outside. You got to be able to snipe people and take care of the basketball.
Yeah.
And so, because they're going to get second chance opportunities, they're going to be good on the boards, they're going to be good in interior defense. A lot of the things that Vic Schaefer and those girls are typically good at when they're not playing teams like South Carolina, when they're not playing teams like LSU. What's the deal with? Because I know Aaliyah Crump, she's been out since before Thanksgiving with the foot.
Yeah.
What's is there an ETA on that? Is she done? Like what?
That's what's weird, because it was supposed to be a 4 to 6 week injury. We're going on week 8. So there's clearly been a setback. Mm-hmm. And, Vic, he hasn't been asked about her straight up, like the red shirting thing, because that's a rumor going around. Somebody said that on Twitter. That's not true, because Vic said it in a weird way. When Crump comes back, is it going to allow Lee to sit on the bench and not be as tired? And Vic was like, yeah. So I'm going to take that as Aaliyah Crump is still coming back sometime soon. But even then, and that's why the games where you're beating teams by 60 and 70, you gotta just try stuff. That's when you gotta, you're not working to beat them, you're working on you. So I'm gonna put uncomfortable lineups out there. Give me Brianna Preston, Rory Harmon, no Madison Booker. Put Ashton Judd at the 3 with Justice Carlton and Kyla Oldegger. How about this? Let me put Bria Cunningham and Kyla Oldegger with Jordan Lee, Madison Booker, and Brianna Preston. Or take out Preston and put in Judge and make Madison Booker run our point. Just try stuff. You're that good of a team, because we've seen these last 2 games when Jordan Lee's gotten into foul trouble, when Madison Booker's gotten into foul trouble, and you have no choice but to mix up your lineups. They don't look in sync. They just don't look like they're on the same page, and everybody's playing out of position. And you're right, Stephen. This team is supposed to have shooters: Ashton Judd, Jordan Lee, Aaliyah Crump. But as far as Lee goes, she's tired. That girl's tired. The way that she plays defense, what you're asking from her, playing 40 minutes, that's tough to do. Earlier on, you could get away with that because they were still fresh. They're not fresh anymore. Mm-hmm. Now, the grind of the season, it's starting to take its toll. Madison Booker was terrific yesterday. She was only one that kept them in the game, but it took her 25 shots just to get 24 points. So I also think the fatigue factor is now a problem with turnovers. Now they're turning the ball over at a high clip. 22, as you mentioned, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's hard to do, in my opinion, 22 turnovers.
I'm surprised they didn't get blown out turning the ball over 22 times.
Yeah. And I think it's because South Carolina had?
They had 20.
Yeah, they had 20. So
So
That's the
maybe,
reason.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, like
Sloppy basketball game.
Yeah, very sloppy. Like they were forcing turnovers, but 22 still too much. South Carolina got to the line way more than Texas did. They got to figure this out. They got to figure this out because even though those two teams are really good, I just think this team doesn't look the same like they did even when they were dealing with all those injuries. And I think fatigue is a big reason why. They got A&M coming into town at the Mood on Sunday at 3 o'clock. The men's basketball team plays A&M tomorrow at 5. And yeah, this A&M team, men's basketball team, Bucky ball, baby. Like, it is fun. It's exciting. He plays about 10 guys. Like, there's over 10 guys on their team getting 12 minutes or more. He has 6 players averaging over double figures. So it doesn't matter. Like, it's kind of the opposite, even though him and Vic Schaefer defensively play a similar style. Like, once the ball goes in, they're full court man-to-man. But the reason why they're able to stay fresh is because they rotate guys a lot. There's not one player getting over 25 minutes or 26 minutes on this team. So guys are always going to be fresh in this game, and they want to shoot at a high clip. They want to run. They play a weird zone where they're just kind of running around, matchup zone where I don't even know if they know their responsibilities half the time. But if you're an offense, that's hard to do. Like, that's hard to work against, Steven. Like, when you just got guys flying at you from different ways and you're trying to penetrate and, guys are just they're in weird spots. And that's how they get you. They try to get you to speed up, even though it's a zone, and you can't buy into that if you're Sean Miller in Texas tomorrow. You got to take care of the basketball. You got to match their energy. And this game – I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous just because Sean Miller, right now, he just has an 8-man rotation. While Bucky McMillan, you could see 12 to 13 guys play tomorrow. So will they wear down Texas? Because they almost wore down Tennessee, and they took them to a double overtime game. And we saw what Tennessee did to the Horns. So I'm very curious to see how Sean Miller's style matches up with Texas A&M. They have good players. They got Pop Isaacs who can light it up. He's a terrific player. They got a Spaniard dude, Ruben Dominguez, who is unconscious. Like, he'll shoot from anywhere on the court. Decent guard play. Solid bigs, but they don't have much size. So if you could get the ball to Mathis and have him work down low and him keep his emotions in check, then Texas, they can keep on rolling. But this will be a tough matchup, a lot different from what you've seen from Alabama and then the other night with Vanderbilt.
And it's a lot different from what we saw last year with Buzz versus RT, right? And the way A&M would just literally throw the ball at the rim with disregard and just kill you on the boards with those bigs, right? Like they've completely transformed into this volume up and down, up tempo. They shot 43 threes in their game versus Tennessee. So it's a volume in a different way, right? In terms of their shot diet. And how they operate. And like you said, a guy like Pop Isaacs, I remember he had an unconscious game when he was at Tech a couple years ago against us. And some of these guys just like getting up for Texas for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I do feel as though where we would struggle in previous years inside, now you kind of have styles make fights, Zay. And so I think it's going to be really, really key for Texas to be strong with the basketball, especially in the half court, getting downhill. Tremont Mark has had some really big games versus A&M, and his size and just getting into this is a game where Texas really needs to leverage their size overall, whether it's in the half court on the perimeter and in the paint. I think Tennessee out-rebounded them like 60-35, which was a big difference. They only won by 5, but, that type of board control and, having that aggression and energy that they have shown the last 2 games is trending favorably towards Texas. But A&M right now 3-1 in the SEC. And they're off to a very, very good start. And their one loss was, like you said, a very close 5-point loss to Rick Barnes and Tennessee, a team that, whooped our ass. So it's gonna be a very interesting game in the Moody. I'm really curious to see, especially in the first half, how we handle this rotation of people just coming out and firing up threes and guarding full court. I mean, it's going to be a really fun game on Saturday.
I hate how much I love Bucky McMillan. I hate it. I'm not saying he's a better coach than Sean Miller, but they're fun as hell. Like that, it's because
it's more enjoyable to watch than what Buzz was doing.
Oh hell yeah,
Buzz was successful.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. And he's a big analytics guy, just like a lot of these young bucks are. Like that's why he shoots a ton of threes, and just taking care of the basketball when they're playing full court, because they just want to slow you down and get you out of sorts. You cannot allow that to happen. And when they get into that zone where they're just flying everywhere, and it's kind of like a matchup zone, and it's a lot based on the personnel of the other team. Like if Cam Heidi's in the corner, they're gonna favor Cam Heidi because they know he's a shooter. If Dalen Swain's in the corner, they're not going to worry about Dalen Swain, and they're going to put their energy somewhere else. And if he catches the ball, they're not going to close out as hard on Dalen Swain like they would do Cam Heidi. Very basic basketball stuff. But in the zone, sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes the principles don't matter. You kind of guard everyone the same. So that's just kind of the mind muck that Sean Miller's team is going to have to deal with, and getting up good shots within the zone. Because when you play a zone, sometimes you could get away from giving the ball to your big. Sometimes your big, Mathis, he could be irrelevant, which that shouldn't be the case. You should still find a way to get him the ball. He has to be smart enough to catch it and understand that they're going to collapse. And sometimes you might not know where they're collapsing from. You got to be head on a swivel. And if you're not able to catch it and make a move like that, you got to get the ball out quick. That ball has to pop around. It has to move. It has to fly around, swing from sideline to sideline. Like, you got to get up good shots within the zone and also be able to handle the pressure that Bucky McMillan teams like to put on you while not getting fatigued, because they're not going to get tired. That's why he plays 12, 13 guys, because they can play that intense type of style and him know that, oh, we got multiple guys that could do it. Cool. We could continue this type of energy, while Texas, who has only played 8 players, hopefully that doesn't wear them down. Hopefully that doesn't wear them down. Like, you got to be smart about your fouls. I don't want Mathis getting into foul trouble or Traore getting into foul trouble where you're forced to play those guys, 35 minutes plus. Because if Mathis is going on 35 minutes into the fourth quarter, he's going to be gassed. So managing those minutes, it should be interesting how Sean Miller does that with the type of style that Bucky McMillan plays.
So within that zone, I think it's even more paramount for 4 people: Swain, Mathis, Traore, and Kendall Weaver. They've got to be demons as offensive rebounders, because you will have offensive rebound opportunities. You will have second chance point opportunities, kind of going more on the Buzz side for Texas. Because leverage your size. I mean, now Texas has been shooting the ball much better the last couple games, and the shot distribution and their shot decisions have been better overall. I think they're shooting better because they're taking better shots and just moving the ball around a little bit better, and people are getting to their spots. That zone will muck stuff up, to your point. But you'll also have some opportunities to come in and get a layup or a dunk or a follow-up and hopefully cause some havoc down low to kind of mitigate some of that damage. against A&M. To me, that would be the counter. I mean, they gave up 24 offensive rebounds in the Tennessee game.
Yeah.
So there should be, based upon the matchup, some opportunities. And Swain, of his 7 rebounds he averages per game, he's like 3 or 4 of them are offensive rebounds. Same with Montes and same with Traore. So that's where they can, really kind of even out this matchup here, especially if A&M's able to crank some threes.
Yeah, because Tennessee, they're bigger than Texas, but still, like, rebounding is a lot about will and how bad you want it. And you got guys like Kendall Weaver and, as you mentioned, Dalen Swain. Like, crash those boards, man. Crash those boards just to give you more opportunities and slow down the game. Because once they get the rebound, they're flying. Mm-hmm. They're flying and they're running to the wings and they're running to the corners. And they have quick enough guards to break you down to where you have to collapse, and they want to kick that thing to the outside and find their shooters and just get them up at a very high rate. So
you don't want to get into a shootout with them, like
no, hell no. I want it to be, let's get Mathis the ball, let's go to work inside. Like, don't settle for these threes just because they're playing you in the zone. You got to keep attacking and get in that paint. Trayvon Mark still has to utilize the mid-range. Like Jordan Pope, he's going to have to be looking for his shot tomorrow because you want to get him out of that zone. So to do that, hitting outside shots does it, but everybody else, like, they don't care about Dalen Swain's shot from the outside. They don't care about Kendall Weaver. They care more about Trayvon Mark just because of what he's done over the last few games. But overall, they're going to test them. They're going to test them. They're going to say, hey, if you want to shoot it, we'll give it to you. You're going to have to prove to us that it's one of those games like you had in Vandy. So I'm excited. Good basketball weekend. It should be fun, but also a good NFL football weekend. We got Buffalo versus Denver. We got San Francisco versus Seattle, Houston versus New England, and to top it all off, the Rams versus the Bears. Steven, which matchup out of these 4 are you looking forward to the most?
Probably Houston versus New England for me. And with, I think there's like a 65% chance of snow in that game. I think a lot of people are asking questions about, people know New England's good, well coached. Drake May MVP candidate, he's had an awesome sophomore season, but how good are they, right? I think we all know the Houston defense is elite. Some people call them LOB Part 2. They fly around, they hit, they're physical, their defensive line is so violent, and then they got CTE Shair just cleaning up stuff in the middle. So
come on, man,
bruh. I mean, I'm just saying what the street said, bro. I'm just a messenger. I got no dog in the fight. I'm just curious at the matchup because Houston skunked the Steelers with C.J. Stroud actively working against the team. That's the worst football game I've seen him play. And I do believe there's, weather is going to be a big factor here. The run game may just be the difference. New England, I think, is more equipped to run the ball, at least effectively, than what we've seen from Houston. But Houston ran the ball well against the Steelers, so in that game. I'm really curious to see just the matchup here, and New England get tested and see Drake May navigate the season. Because one of the arguments with the MVP conversation between Matthew Stafford and Drake May was that Matthew Stafford went up against all these top tier defenses, and Drake May had like 12 touchdowns versus the Jets. Like that. Like I feel like that's like where people kind of landed, but now we get to see. Yeah. We really, really do. And how much weather plays a part of that, I don't know. I love the matchup of D'Amico Ryans versus Mike Vrabel and the job he's done this year for New England, and 2 linebacker defensive coaches that clearly have the pulse of their team. I think it's going, and New England's defense is also violent. Yeah. They had Justin Herbert and them shook. They got him up out of there. People on the Chargers talking about we didn't know what they were running. So I think that's going to be a very violent car accident, street fight type of game in New England. That's the game I'm looking forward to the most. I love all these matchups, though, Zay. Because all these teams seem to be even to me.
Right.
Like,
There's
all of them.
Yeah. There's no one that stands out. You got Stafford and Josh Allen, but overall, there's not really many big name, quote unquote, quarterbacks left in the playoffs, which is a lot of fun, in my opinion. And, going back to the Texans and New England, yeah, you better put some respect on the Patriots defense, because I think Christian Gonzalez is one of the best corners in the league. And I'm still looking at when will the schedule catch up with them? When will that?
So you're one of those people questioning
I
how
am.
good is they?
I am. I
That's
really
fair.
am. Like, I just, when you're playing against these rump roast teams that are just horrible. And again, Mike Vrabel, one of my favorite coaches in the league. Like, he got that lip busted up and stuff, and he didn't give a damn. They tried to wipe it. You could tell he was uncomfortable with them wiping. He was like, yo, I'm a man. Get the hell off me. You could just tell, man. I'm like, yo, I love that dude. He is an OG type of guy. But it's just they haven't been challenged. They haven't been challenged much. And all you can do is play the people in front of you. It's still the NFL. Let's keep it real. It is still the National Football League, but the Texans have been tested, and CJ Stroud scares the hell out of me. He does, especially with no Nico Collins. Nico Collins, he's out for this game, concussion protocol. So, yeah,
Has he been already ruled out for the game with concussion protocol? Are they kind of
I just saw it like an hour ago. Nico Collins.
Because I hadn't gotten an update on it yet. And that hit he took in the Steelers game, it wasn't even the hit. It was his head and his neck driving straight into the ground. Looked horrible.
Yeah.
And that's going to be interesting because Christian Kirk went off last game. That was a bright spot for them. And we know, Xavier Hutchinson, Jaden Higgins, Noel, like it's an interesting crew of receivers. Does that maybe work to the Texans' advantage potentially? Because Christian Gonzalez, like, he would have just been on Nico, right? And it would have been but now it's like, hey, maybe we can run stuff conceptually or be a little bit more balanced with our diet attacking this New England defense versus I don't know. Maybe that's just, what are you talking about, Steve? But yeah, I'm intrigued because they won a game so dominantly against Pittsburgh with negative quarterback play. And you rarely see that in playoff games unless it's a really special defense.
Yeah, that defense, they're turnt, man. Like, I don't know if you've seen the mic'd up videos that have gone viral with them, with the secondary, Bullock and Petrie and Lassiter and Stingley. They're a fun group. They're
great football players, too. Petrie is good. Petrie was a dog at Baylor.
Oh, man, he was incredible at Baylor. And, like, you thought, like, he's small, though. Like, how can it translate?
You dog.
It don't matter. He just give me a Guardian cap and I'm good. I might be small, but give me that big ass.
He don't got the cap. Romeo Dobbs Guardian cap though. The Romeo Dobbs Guardian cap hit different, bruh. If you know, you know.
That's because that goal that the Packers have is just so loud. I think that's why it looks that way. Like, Jalen Petrie still looks cool. Romeo Dobbs, he don't look cool at all. And it's the yellow, it's the gold. It's that Packers gold. That's the reason. It's just he looks like a Super Mario character or something.
Can we go speed round? Because I want to really hear your thoughts on all of these games real quick.
So, yeah. Let's get to it.
I'm gonna go just because of the weather. I'm gonna lean New England. I think they're ready for this test, and I think they have an opportunity to obviously, potentially depending on the outcome of the Bills Denver game, potentially host an AFC Championship game. So I am going to lean New England there. What say you?
I got Texans. I'm
rooting for the Texans.
Stroud can't be that bad again. He can't be that bad again.
He's probably due.
Right? Like, he can't be that bad again. They say it was because he was with Amber Rose a couple of years ago. They were leaving that softball game. They said that's when it went down, when it went left.
Oh, and then he went back to Jesus and everything. But my thing is, and I love it. I love it for the brother. I'm a Christian as well. But it's like the ball security was god awful. If he's gonna play that way in New England, I don't think they can overcome all of that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But he's got to at least know when to take a sack. I think they need to get their cadence together with the snap count with the center, because the snaps were ridiculous and they just didn't seem to be on the same page with their silent stuff. That has to get cleaned up. That should already be cleaned up this week. So, we'll see. What about Bills Broncos?
I like Josh Allen. In this one. I know he basically does everything for that team, but even though Broncos with PS2 and Hufunga and those guys, like, they can play, man. They're really freaking good. Like, Zach Allen, tackle, like, they're really good. But Josh Allen, I think he's due for a run. And he looked good against Jacksonville. I'm going to go with Buffalo.
No Lamar, no Patrick, no Burrow.
That's what I said.
And the Winter Soldier, I know he's banged up. I know that Buffalo roster ain't great. But this feels like, I'm going to throw it back. This feels like speaking of the Broncos, it feels like he's like Elway in the 80s. Just dragging this team on his back, even against superior teams. Because I think the Broncos clearly have a better roster, better team. They may even have the better coach in Sean Payton. And the Winter Soldier's going on the road trying to carry that narrative. I got the Bills somehow, some way, just because of Josh.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way. I can't give you football reasons for it other than Josh. I can't.
No, I'm right there with you.
They don't have the matchup. But I think Winter Soldier, the one stat I did hear going around, though, was Bo Nix is like 1 of 7 against winning teams that have scored more than 17 points. That, to me, if I'm Sean McDermott, talking about getting to deeper waters, get that thing to 27, Josh, and let's see what Bo Nix does. Yeah. So I'm going to go Bills as well with you. What about Seahawks 49ers?
Yeah, the George Kittle thing. He's such a heart and soul type of player, especially for that offense, especially for what Kyle Shanahan loves to do. Like, that's and they got a good backup, but it ain't George Kittle.
Yeah, I like Tunges, but he's not Kittle.
And George Kittle's ability to block, with use check and just all the shit that they do, man, you got to take a lot of that out for obvious reasons. So I think that's going to go into the Seahawks' favor. And just a team that's seen them so many times, I'm going to go with Seattle.
I'm a little worried about the Sam Darnold oblique thing because it sounds like the same injury that Quinn had.
Ooh.
And they're talking about Drew Lock might start this game.
Oh, my Lord. I did not know that.
Yeah, so Drew Lock has been basically been doing it. I still am taking Seattle because Seattle just seems to have a beat on this 49ers offense, and that 49ers team is so banged up. What they've done is remarkable with the people that are available. But I'm seeing Fred Warner trying to come back and all this stuff. I'm like, is this safe? Even with the power plant in the back, I don't know about this, bro. But I'm going Seattle as well.
Yeah.
And then Rams-Bears.
I'm going to go with the Rams, man, even though they scare me. I'm going to go with the Rams. I mean, come on. The Bears, they can't keep coming back in these victories. Like, first team to win 7 games where they trailed.
It's not a way to live.
Minutes. Like, that can't keep happening. So maybe it does. Who knows? Maybe it does.
The streets are saying that McVay trying to get get it back in blood for his boy Matt LaFleur after Ben Johnson curbed him
all right.
in the handshake.
Okay.
They said they're trying to get it back in blood. That's what the streets are saying.
All right. I mean,
I'm gonna go Rams in the slightest. I think the Rams-Bears game is gonna be drunk football. All the Bears games turn into drunk football, even with rational people.
Yeah.
And so I do think it will, but Puka, Stafford, I think, that crew, McVay will mitigate, at least it'll be a wash with him and Ben. Give me the Rams.
Yeah. He is Steven and Gotti from Fanatic Perspective. Steven, I appreciate you the last 2 days, brother. Hell of a job, man. Can't wait to have you back on soon, brother. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, Zay. I got one more question for you.
What's up?
Miami, Indiana, Monday night, because I ain't going to be on
Indiana.
Monday.
Indiana.
Are they covering the 9? I think it's at still 9 points.
That's tough. But definitely Indiana.
Even in the crib, even Miami at the crib, no worries.
And now Fernando Mendoza's home.
You're right.
He's from Miami. That's what I see. But let's open the gym. Matt Galatzan, Patrick Davis, fellas, what's happening?
What up, guys?
What's going on, man? We ready for Texas to actually be a favorite at a basketball game again?
Do you think they'll be favored?
They are favored by 4.5.
Ooh, I don't like that.
They are favored by 4.5.
I don't like that. Bucky ball.
I'm just telling you. Hey, I was surprised to see it too, but hey, everyone's bought in now. Everybody's bought in. 2 games. That's all it took. A whole beginning, a whole 2 months of garbage. 2 games. Everyone's bought in.
We went from 10% chance to make the tournament to 67 in 2 games.
I'm telling you, it's quick, man. It turns around quick, but
the world turns,
we'll see. Hey, this is a big one because you beat A&M and everyone likes you a lot more.
That's true. Appreciate you guys. I'll have a good show. Steven, appreciate you, brother.
Later, guys.
Appreciate you guys. Welcome in to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text lines open 512-222-9328 and over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Matt, we are rolling in to the Friday edition. The portal is closing shortly. We've gotten most of our names in. I know you weren't thrilled about a name that popped in to the portal last night. Not one that you wanted to have. And then Texas gets a recommitment by someone who was in the portal with Wan'Dale Robinson, and that whole secondary tested.
Warren Roberson,
sorry, yes. I keep calling him Wan'Dale. I don't know why in my brain it does that, but Warren Roberson, yes. I don't know why. I don't know how, like, the entire secondary was jumping in the portal, and they all came back out to Texas. Maybe we heard that Wardell Mack might be going. He never went in. We know that Kobe Black was going to went in, and then came back out. We know that Wardell went in and came back out, and Derrick Williams went in and came back out. So a lot of movement there, Matt. We got to talk some NFL later. We got to talk some basketball as well. But we're getting into it's supposed to be a cold weekend, Matt. Are you prepared for the cold weekend with temperatures dropping below freezing here in Austin and I'm guessing Houston?
I don't think it's going to get that cold in Houston.
Okay. We're at 28 is our low on Sunday, I believe. Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, we're going to be in the 50s over here. We're good to go.
How are you missing it that much?
I don't know, but I'm going to be in I'm going to be in South Texas next week, and it's going to be like low of 48, 44. That's about the coldest weather I'm going to see for a while. So I mean, I don't know how you guys are going to get so cold.
Come into town. It's supposed to be the low of 28 on Saturday. So we'll get it cold once again and run all our faucets. And it's been like 5 years since we had our ice apocalypse and everybody, and we all had to go to other people's houses because if you weren't in a hospital grid, all of your power was gone, and it was no fun. And like it was just funny because I saw the memories pop up, and it's a picture of my dog in the snow, and it's like so happy not knowing that the next week I'm going to be displaced out of my house because we didn't have power for like a week at the house I was living in, and then we didn't have water for even longer than that. So frustrating time, Matt. And then the worst part of it was when I was leaving, and you're like, okay, the roads are at least like less icy now, so we can get back on and drive over and go to someone else's house. I go to get out and I slip in my yard and there's still snow. And so when I come back after a week, there is still just a giant fat guy falling print in the snow out where my car was because I had fallen. And I was like, no, come on, man. We got to get rid of that stuff. We don't need a chalk outline of me busting my ass out there next to my car. So that was fun stuff like 5 years ago. We prefer not to do that again this weekend. I don't think there's any moisture, so I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I think you'll be all right. It's just going to be hella cold, which is okay. You know, it's January. It should be cold. You know, I'm tired of these 75-degree January days. I need some cold weather in my life.
I'm okay with the nights getting cold enough and 70. I'm getting older. I'm fine with not having to do it. I walk my dog every day. I prefer not to walk my dog in 20-degree weather, 30-degree weather, really. It's too cold. It's too cold for me to be walking my dog in that. So I'm fine with it. I don't have enough like cold weather stuff. And also I don't want to go walking and just put on all this stuff because then you start sweating underneath. It's no fun.
Yeah.
No fun, man. It is a open bar, open gym Friday. So you got them, crack them open, have a drink with us on a Friday afternoon. Hope you're getting close to your weekend. We appreciate you hanging out with us as you get closer and closer to the weekend here as the portal is starting to close, even though there will be a second window of the national championship teams that opens on Tuesday. Outside of that, we're barring hopefully no more Texas players jumping in the next 8 hours. But Matt, how was the news yesterday? Because it's a player now that Texas may take a look at. I'm guessing his price may be a bit too rich for what Texas is going to actually be going for.
He's going to LSU.
He's going to LSU, just straight up.
Mm-hmm.
It's straight up tampering.
It's worse than that.
But this is so what's the take on Prince? You can say his name. I hate saying it. It's too long.
Prince Will Umamielen.
Umamielen. I don't have the confidence because I get Umami and then I'm already out. I don't want to finish it. So
yeah, it's a name that, first of all, I'm glad Texas isn't signing because I don't want to have to spell that every day when I'm doing my job. But it's worse than tampering what LSU is doing. Lane Kiffin is calling and texting players in the locker room who have already signed new deals. And he is basically breaking all of the rules. The problem is there is no precedent for this. There is no precedent on punishment for this, so it's kind of undetermined what the NCAA can do about it. The spoiler alert, they're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I think that Ole Miss wants
honestly what they do is they'll take away 5 to 10 scholarships, which isn't the biggest deal with 105.
Yeah, well, I think that Ole Miss is going to get aggressive about it. Is what I've been led to believe. So we'll see what happens. I've been sworn to secrecy, so I won't talk anymore about that. But it's not a good look for LSU. It's not a good look for Lane Kiffin. It's probably going to get very ugly and very gross. They've now lost 2 players in the last 48 hours who had already signed new deals to go to LSU. Outside of and this isn't that aspect of it isn't necessarily foreign. Melvin Ciani had already signed a new deal with Wake Forest, so Texas is basically going to have to pay buyout money for Melvin Ciani, which isn't a problem. It's whatever. But that's why I think that whatever happened this year with the transfer portal is going to get. I think this is the last time we're going to see it like this, because the rampant tampering and players breaking their contracts to go to new places and all of the crazy things that have been going on. Darian Mensah enters the portal today, a couple hours ago, and what is supposedly a shocking move, but it shouldn't be shocking considering everything else we've seen in the transfer portal thus far. there's going to be there has to be guardrails put up after this season. Otherwise, it's just going like we're talking about contract buyouts for college football players right now. That's how off the rails we are. And
No,
it's absurd.
It's completely off the rails. But again, the problem is now, before there wasn't precedent set that basically the NCAA has no real jurisdiction. And now the precedent has been set, and we saw it. Now, we just saw a federal judge yesterday, I believe, turn down 5 different lawsuits that were looking for an injunction to get a 5th year of eligibility. All people that had played 4 years of college football and then wanted a college sports and wanted a 5th year. He said, guys, there's nothing like there isn't a reason. And the lawyer basically saying, well, everybody else gets 5 years. Why don't we? And they go, not everybody else. You get to play 4. That's what that's the rules. That's what all the rules have always been. And they're trying to argue, well, that's not fair because even if you're not playing, you're getting paid. And so them saying 4 is not enough because 5 is what those other guys get paid. The interesting part I think about that is if the president gets set that rule still exists. You get 4 years of playing. It could lead to a lot more people being like, redshirt me, man. Redshirt me. I'm fine. You look, I will get better and you're going to pay me a bunch of money to redshirt for a year. And I'm fine with redshirt because I'm going to make another, I don't know, however many 6 figures I'm making. I'm going to make that, and then I got 4 more years to try and go make some more money when I'm already a year in. And if I want to transfer then, I can, or I could do whatever. But to play the system, and there's just, again, like, it sucks because the same thing with NIL is with everything else that's happening, this and the portal and all of that, where the best intentions are put in there, and then there's a bunch of snakes out in the grass that immediately see it and go, oh, I can profit off a broken system? Awesome. And I will make the system that much worse because I have no care about football. I don't care about the kids. I don't care about the schools. I care about nothing but making money. And so, screw it. We'll just go in and we'll try and sue whoever doesn't get what we want. And we'll try and get wherever we want to be. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it is LSU blatantly tampering and getting guys and walking in and saying, what's your contract? Okay, we'll pay you more. And I agree. I agree, Dad. I agree that everyone is tampering. I think Lane Kiffin has been one of the worst. When he was at Ole Miss, he was one of the worst.
He's taking always, it to another level.
Yeah, but he always has. Like, he's always been ahead of the curve of tampering. Lane Kiffin has. He just always has. Yeah. With Ole Miss, he was. It's one of the reasons why Ole Miss is really good is because he was ahead of the curve there as well. And it's just now it's going to a different level because you're texting kids and you're basically – there used to be a lot of workarounds that you would use, and now you don't have to have the workarounds anymore because you're like they're not stopping you. So why are we calling high school coaches and family members that we recruited with when we can just literally call a kid and it doesn't matter because nothing's going to happen? So we saw that one. It's disappointing to see because it is teams just going after each other, and it means that also it's just driving up the price of everything. It's making everything less sustainable because at the end of the day, these schools are not going to people are not going to keep spending the money over and over again. And if you win a national championship, you'll probably be good to go. And outside of that, you're going to have people start drying up. We've already heard from multiple people, maybe not the biggest donors, but donors nonetheless at many schools that are like out of it completely. So like, I shook this kid's hand. He looked me in the eye and told me he really wanted to be here, and I gave him a bunch of money. That dude never showed up for anything, and then he left after a year. It's like he just lied straight to my face and walked away. So why do I believe you're bringing in character people, and why do I believe I should pay for them if literally you're just going, hey, we just got to cast a wide net, and you're a casualty in the war of this? And so we've already heard some people backing out and be like, I'm done with it. But at the back end of it, it just has to be, where you find out now where we go, everybody's tampering, everybody's doing it. What are the lines that we're willing to draw? And it's kind of like Sark saying, well, there was a salary cap, and then he's not obeying by the salary cap either. So we're just as guilty as anybody of, speaking out of both sides of your mouth, that when they actually sit down and try and put out, well, we don't want to tamper, all of them are going to be like, well, we don't need anyone else to tamper, but how can we trust them? So we're still going to do it until people really get punished. Everyone's going to keep doing it because until there's punishments, it's not really. Why would you not if everyone else is? If you go, I talked to 6 of my players who told me flat out they have an offer from another school. Then how am I going to compete if I'm not doing the same thing?
Yeah. It's not just that he's talking to players either. He is intentionally trying to destroy the Ole Miss locker room and burn the program to the ground because he's unhappy about the way things went. He's leaking, according to reports at least, he is leaking confidential contract information about the deals that the players have signed to other players in the locker room, saying, hey, this guy that they just signed is getting X amount of dollars. You should come here and we'll pay you more than they're paying you. And I mean, this is all sourced reporting from, different outlets that I trust. So he's going way above and beyond simply just having an agent contact a player and be like, hey, come here, we'll pay you money. It's getting out of control. And I believe he's going to pay the price for it. I really do.
You know what? I don't think he will. I mean, I think he will eventually because he's not going to stop until somebody literally stops him. But my guess is he'll be fine this year and probably next, maybe another year, because no one wants to stop it. Nobody really wants to stop it because as long as you're, who wants to stop it are the programs who are getting screwed, but those programs don't have the power to stop it.
Well, they're lawyering up. I can tell you that.
No, I think a lot of people, they're going to lawyer up and it'll be in court for 3 years and it'll be like, it just sucks. I'm with you, Matt. It sucks because I don't like it either. I'm not a fan of how these things work out. We did see another piece of Christian Clark has signed elsewhere. He is now at South Carolina, where we thought he may be going to multiple different programs, ends up going at a place where he feels, I guess, more importantly to him, that he's going to play next season. And I mean, it tells you more and more about what he was looking for. If he turned down a lot of other programs to go, man, no one wants to tell me I'm going to play. And I don't want to sit here for miss a year due to injury. I missed another year. It's like, I don't want to be 20, because at 25 years old, I'm undraftable. So as a running back, you're like, I don't want to sit and have a bunch of eligible. I don't want to play 4 years of college. I'm undraftable at that point. No one's drafting a 25-year-old running back. I mean, hell, we're talking about Joe Mixon. We're like, man, old man Joe Mixon can't stay on the field. He's like 27.
Yeah.
28, something like that. You're talking about these guys like they're so old. Like Derrick Henry's like 30. We're like, what an old running back. That dude is well past his prime. It's crazy how young these guys actually are. So when you're a running back, you have to go, man, I have to go prove myself. I'm 3 years out of high school now. If I have a great season at South Carolina, I'm in the draft next year at 21 years old. And I'll go take that. So I get why, if you're like, I just have to hit the field so I can go out there, and maybe at South Carolina, they gave me the pitch, I have a 1,000-yard season and possibly go.
Yeah, I think that's a good landing spot for him. They've done a really good job in the portal. They have a really good quarterback. They have a really good wide receiver room. I think that they've built themselves back up to compete in the SEC next year, and he's going to be a focal point of their offense, and he deserves it. He's a really good player. He just, was going to fall down in the depth chart and didn't want to earn his way back up, I guess. I mean, it's really hard to compete for a starting job with two guys that are going to be making a ton of money that you brought into the transfer portal with the idea of starting. So he's going somewhere that's probably guaranteeing him a starting job, giving him a really good paycheck, and he's going to probably have a really good year with South Carolina. But I'm happy for him. Like, go get your money, go get your experience. You're going to have an opportunity to get to the NFL in a couple years, and you probably weren't going to get that same opportunity at Texas. So it's a good deal for him.
Yep, and for Texas, the re-addition of Warren Roberson really does start to fill out that cornerback room a little bit more. As we were talking yesterday more about, okay, well, you probably really need to go get another DB. Now you can go get another DB but you're not as pressed to get one. We all know Roberson has had his issues with making not great decisions. And, it didn't really get cleaned up throughout the year. He can play ball. Because if you make that many mistakes as he's made and stay on the field, you clearly can play ball for your coach to let you stay out there. Like, there's a reason why you're still out on the field, because they're like, we need you out there. So for Warren Roberson to be able to come back to Texas now and kind of fill that room back out with a lot of guys, hats off to Muschamp and Gideon for getting these guys to come back. And for Gideon, I mean, he worked with a lot of these guys. He helped recruit a lot of these guys. So I think that him coming back in and now actually being back in the program and being able to talk to him more freely helped out with, we're back on the game plan we were on a year ago. We're back on those game plans. This is, trust me, I've worked with Muschamp before, and you have no idea what we're about to do. And the whole thing that you were getting upset about, especially for a guy like Roberson to be like, you want to be aggressive, Roberson. So that dude, the reason he gets penalties, he wants to be aggressive. And, playing in a PK defense maybe isn't that where he's going to play as much man and be as physical as he wants to be. I think they could sell him on the pitch of, no, there's a new day at Texas, and we really want you to be part of it. We'll make sure the offer is right. We'll make sure everything's good. And why don't you come back here? And it makes that secondary room feel a little bit more complete now. And it gives you a little bit more, continuity in a room when you are losing, you lose continuity every year in the portal. And the secondary, from all the guys who have at some point been in it, felt like it was going to be a bit more divided than it feels like it's going to be now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's tailor-made to be a Will Muschamp corner. So he probably sat down, had conversations with Blake Gideon and Will Muschamp, and they're like, we are going to use you the way that you like to play. Like, Will Muschamp really likes aggressive man-to-man corners, and that's exactly what Warren Roberson is. So now you're 6 deep at corner, and I don't think you need to go get another one. You're really 9 deep if you count the star position. I don't know if we're counting that as a safety or a corner. It's kind of a hybrid of both, with a little linebackerness in there. But like the fact remains, you're still going to have Cade Phillips and Bo Masco probably as your starting outside corners, and your backups are going to be Warren Roberson and Kobe Black, and then you're going to have Samari Matthews, and that's at least 5, and Grayson Littleton can play out there. So it's a really good room, and it's a young, talented room too. Like a couple juniors, a couple sophomores, and then Bo Masco is kind of the veteran guy. And then you also feel really good about the star position with Littleton and Wardell Mack and Jordan Johnson-Rubel. And I hear that Jonathan Cunningham's probably going to get a look there in the spring. And I think that's a good spot for him because he's a little bit undersized for a linebacker, and he's really athletic, so he could play there, and I think he could do well. So, and that's not even talking about the safety room that's returning a lot of dudes as well. So, I'm really excited about the secondary. I think it's going to be a championship level secondary, especially with all of the adversity that room faced this year, and the things that they had to go through with injuries and how poorly they played at times. Bringing in Muschamp and Blake Gideon to kind of shore up the communication issues and the schematic issues that they had back there is only going to benefit them, and I think that they're going to be much, much, much better.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I want to throw this in with Will Muschamp because, again, it's very well stated. By the way, what's up, CB? It was very well stated on this show that I don't like how Sark handled the offseason of taking it easy and trying to get guys healthier and not really pushing his guys as hard because, man, we're playing 17 games. We're playing 17 games. We just been in the playoffs 2 years in a row. One of the things of adding Will Muschamp gets to walk in, and when Sark goes, well, what do you do? He goes, yeah, no, I was with Georgia. We're in the playoffs every single year, and we're playing as many games you can play every single year, and we're going. And Kirby don't take his foot off the gas. Kirby does, we're going, and if someone gets hurt, there's another guy. You line up another guy. I think having Will Muschamp in there to help you out, because one of the things we saw this year in the secondary was moving Jalen Gilbo from the star to outside, and it didn't work the way we wanted to work. And so you saw issues with that kind of throughout the season of Gilbo not really being the type of player that we thought he was at star. And so now when you start to go through and start to do scrimmages and practices, I think you need to be a little bit more aggressive in trying to figure out, okay, is Grayson Littleton going to stay at star for us, where he did struggle a little bit at the end of the season? It was a freshman year and they targeted him a ton. But is he staying there? Do we feel we have another guy who's better there? We can move Grayson Littleton outside. And does that work or not? Or are we putting too much on his plate too early? And maybe we should move him back. And maybe we should, he should stay at star. And I think that those questions was, if you would have redone last season from the beginning, you wouldn't have put Gilbo on the outside. Now, I know Grayson Littleton turned out to be great at the star, but you'd probably be playing Gilbo and Littleton sharing time at the star, especially early, and you try and have somebody else at that outside position. Maybe even Cade Phillips is a true freshman. You might even put out there, but you'd be switching a lot of guys in that other outside spot. I don't know if you put Gilbo out there. Maybe that was out of necessity, but, when you look at it overall, that experiment didn't work. And by the time you realized it wasn't working and that was a problem, it was a little too late to really shake things up completely. And, they didn't want to do that. So I think, again, that early season, being prepared for this season, the off-season workouts, the spring practices, the fall practices, everything before you play Ohio State in week 2, that all needs to be ironed out. And instead of sticking someone out there now that you go, we'll hope, you feel a little bit better with getting Warren Roberson back, getting Kobe Black back, getting, Derrick Williams back, adding a Bo Masco, not having Wardell Mack leave. You feel like you've got guys that can fill all those roles. You just got to find the right guys for each one of those spots. I know contracts and promises and all of that make it harder to do, but you still got to find the best guys to put out there and then rotate accordingly.
Yeah, and I think that also Samari Matthews being there as a true freshman who's going to be a very good fit for what Texas is going to start doing in the secondary is also going to help. Obviously, you don't want him to have too much of a responsibility on his plate as a freshman like Grayson Littleton and Cade Phillips did. But, to be able to come in there and spot duty and do things, it's going to be important. I really, really like Bo Masco. He was one of the best corners in the Big Ten this past season. He's very familiar with Mark Orfe and what they like to do at corner. So it's going to be a nice deep room, and they're going to have plenty of talent and plenty of dudes that'll be able to make an impact next season. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Obviously the one concern you have is like injury, which is a concern for every position group on the team. So that's pretty much the only thing that you could say. Like I had people in my mentions yesterday, like, oh, you better hope you don't have an injury on the defensive line because you have no depth. I'm like, have you looked at the Texas depth chart since the transfer portal opened?
The deepest position.
It is defensive tackle is literally the deepest position on the defense. There's not even a question about it.
If they add another good edge, then you're like, the edge room is stacked too.
And I don't even think they need to be a stacked room.
No, but but you put in there, and I get people who aren't watching would still go like Colton Vossick's not a guy because they haven't heard his name in a few years. But me and you still believe Colton Vossick could be a dude. Mm-hmm. And we're just hoping this offseason of workouts without injury is going to get him back to where he wants to be. But we believe he could be a dude. You talk about Justice Terry splitting time between those two rooms. You talk about Richard Wesley and guys like that. You're like, man, there's just a lot of really good talent. So D-line overall, to me, you go D-line the deepest position we have. Because in the DB room, there's injury. Quarterback, you would say they have a deep quarterback room. You still don't feel good if Arch goes down. If you lose a Wingo or a Coleman, it changes what you do completely. So every other room it is that, but that's kind of what it is across college football now. That is the portal world we live in. That is NIL and everything where you cannot have Alabama and Georgia, which is, hey man, this guy got hurt. Guess what? Next up is a future first-round draft pick. You know who's behind him? Another future first-round draft pick. Everyone on this team, unless they screw it up, is a future first-round draft pick. And unless you're Georgia's case, would you be like, and then we have this walk-on quarterback who's really good. But other than that, yeah. And so it just ends up that it's, getting through all of that. And Kane will say that our tight end room, I don't think is as deep. Without having Jack injuries coming back, I like all the guys, but there's no real experience on that line other than Masunas. And that's not our experience, but like Shannon Spencer played some. Nick Townsend played a little. Winston played a little, but you lose Jordan Washington, who played a lot for you last year. You lose Indries, who played a lot for you last year. So I just don't know. Depth-wise, I can't say that we're deep there. Maybe we are. Maybe Townsend and Winston are both the absolute truth and can get there in 3 games. But without that, I'm like, I don't know who that other tight end to be the big threat that we were missing last year. And I think Indries could have done it if everything else in the offense worked, because he did it later in the season a couple times. But that room to me is not one of our deeper, just because there's no trust yet in anybody. I won't say faith. I'll say trust, where I can go, I trust these guys are going to go out there and perform every week. I believe it. I believe they can, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's a little bit of projection with the younger guys. I believe that Nick Townsend will be a very, very good tight end when it's all said and done, but he has to take that next step. And will he take that next step next year, or will it be the year after? I don't know. Masunas is never going to be, and I'm not trying to be, the Gunnar Helm is going to average 14 yards a game quote or whatever from I think he called Chip out for a couple of years ago. But like Masunas is more of an inline blocking tight end and who's decent with his hands and can make you pay if you leave him wide open. It's gonna be a change, but I think that it's kind of suited for what they want to do offensively next year. And Townsend is incredibly able to make some plays, and I think with a full spring as the starter and a full summer working as the starter and fall camp and everything, I think he'll be ready to go. But it is projection. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. No, and I'll say this, because I won't say how many yards Masunas gets for us, but I can tell you this. I think Masunas gets us plenty of good first downs this season.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's exactly that guy on that play call on a 2nd and 6 or a 3rd and 5 or whatever that just slips out after laying a block down. And when nothing else is open, he's right at that marker, hits it, falls forward, boom, first down.
Mm-hmm.
And just having a guy like that on your team is so big. And maybe even in red zones and stuff where you slip a guy out. And I'm slipping a guy out on the right and the left. And can they really find both of them? And I think that those worlds of, I think he's going to be very, very good for them. But I agree. I just don't see him as the downfield runner that we had with Gunnar Helm or with JT Sanders that was just athletic. And Gunnar Helm, too, God bless him, still isn't the most athletic guy in the world, but he plays with every last second, every last tiny little drop of that athleticism he plays with. And he makes it work to his ability. And so, I'm the tight end room I would say there. And Naman, as far as the zone and everything else and the see ball, get ball, that to an extent, but I think just playing man and just being able to face guard people and just being able to put bodies on them at the line of scrimmage and letting you try and instead of, coming back and someone goes, well, you allowed 5 catches. Go, I didn't allow any. The play call allowed 5 catches. I did exactly what my job was, which was to tackle him after he catches the ball. My job was not to get him to not catch the ball because I was not lined up anywhere near where to stop that play from happening. So I think that's kind of the problem is you walk off and everybody goes, that guy allowed 5 catches. And he goes, no, I didn't. The play call did. And I think Will Muschamp and Blake Gideon are going to be more in the world. Well, there'll still be some of that because good offensive play calling allows that. But I think that there'll be more of let's have contested plays. Now, that does mean you're going to let an explosive play go by you every once in a while, the missed play. But you got to sit on those, and you think if we can get them off the field more, and then once every 3 or 4 weeks, we allow somebody and we just slip or, a guy just messes up, that's going to happen during the season, whether or not you play zone or not.
Yeah. If I'm a corner in college football, I probably, just for my NFL draft tape that they're going to watch on me, I probably wouldn't want to play in PK's defense just because it's so much soft zone, and NFL really values man coverage. But I think that Will Muschamp is going to do a really good job of getting these guys to play more disciplined in the secondary as well, which I think was a huge issue last year. Even with Michael Taft back there were so many guys that were over rotating or overcompensating for help or whatever the case may be. There was just the fundamentals of the secondary play were not there last year. I think Will Muschamp's going to really tighten that wrench on those guys and get them playing the right way. A lot of that can be blamed on Dwayne Aquina on the back end too. I mean, I don't have any personal issues with the guy, but he did not do a good job last year, which is why they let him go. And I think Blake Gideon's going to get those guys playing really well again too. Because I mean, I don't know if anybody remembers what happened the last time Blake Gideon was the defensive passing game coordinator and safeties coach at Texas. They had the number one pass defense in the country. So I'm not saying they're going to do that again this year, but they're going to be a hell of a lot closer to that this year than they were last year.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I think you have to take a little bit of it and realize that there may be growing pains on this defense to set realistic expectations for everybody. There may be growing pains at the beginning of the season because it is a new system. And so you could have some parts where early you get into a game and you're not, you didn't practice for a certain situation or you weren't ready for something they threw at you and a guy's in the wrong space or plays something wrong, plays against, hell, your second game of the season, you're playing against Jeremiah Smith. And that's a hell of an assignment. They did great on him this year, but you could see a play or two go wrong early and you just kind of have to understand, okay, this is just the little part out because, again, if you want to be really great and get there, you can't kind of half-ass it. And so I think early on there may be a little bit more issues than you'd like to see. I think by the time you get to SEC play, it should be more, sorted out. And none of it's going to be terrible, but just some plays where you're like, that guy's not quite where he needs to be or something wasn't done quite right. I think they'll get there quicker. I have a lot of trust in Will Muschamp to get the guys where he needs them to be and do it quickly. I think he knows the timetable. I think he knows everything that's happening. I don't doubt for 1 second he knows what he stepped into. But I will say that the flip of last season is true this season, which is last season the defense had to carry the offense while they got going. This season, you really hope the offense comes out firing on all cylinders. They're ready to go with, Arch Manning in his second year and Ryan Wingo back in this offense. And then you add a Cam Coleman, who is most plug and play have in this year's portal class. Because we can talk about everybody else and the quarterbacks and maybe whoever's ranked ahead of him. I don't think there's another better plug and play player who can do everything as a wide receiver than Cam Coleman. So you add him in offensively. The run game may take a minute to get there, but I think outside of that, you should be able to be a dynamic offense pretty early in the season. And then it's if that run game goes from being able to get 65, 70 yards a game to being able to get 140, that dramatically changes your offense as you can grow throughout the season. I think that would be the part of what you're kind of looking for to get you through that first non-conference schedule.
Yeah, I completely agree. And in Kane, if you go back and watch the tape from the early part of the season, really until the Oklahoma game, you're pretty much correct. There was not very much short stuff dialed up very often at all. It was all, routes that were designed to go, 15 yards downfield or further. And it was a lot of long developing play action type stuff. And there wasn't a lot of hots that Arch could take and get out of a play if it didn't work out for him. So that's all a lot of what changed in the second half of the year is he started dialing up those things where Arch could get rid of the ball quickly and, running backs were available and tight ends were available and they were running a lot more of the tunnel screens and drag routes and those kinds of things. It didn't always work out because I swear to God, if I see Ryan Wingo drop another drag route in the next, just whether it's a highlight clip or something, I'm going to pull my hair out.
Look,
but
I'll say this: if I see him drop another drag route with his head up instead of looking the ball in and him looking downfield, Because that's the one you're like, look, again, I'll tell you, I'm okay. You're going to drop some or whatever else. Those ones where you're making the next move without the ball in your hand. I was explaining to someone watching the Texans game the other night where I think it was Christian Kirk, but someone's on the outside and they catch a pass on the outside and there's no one in front of them. And they take like 4 steps and get out of bounds backwards to catch the pass and get out of bounds. And you're like, man, it would have been great if he could have just, if he just had that next step in him where he had that body control that great elite wide receivers have, and he was able to turn that upfield. I mean, they may have been 30 more yards, right? Mm-hmm. And then when I was explaining, I was like, would that be great? That's why he's not an elite receiver. And for him, he knew what his job was. It was third down. He caught the ball. He secured the ball. And he didn't lose the ball. That was his job. Everything else after that is all that's all, you know, extra. So for Ryan Wingo, it's like job 1, secure the pass. Job 2, go get extra yardage. And when you get so good at securing the pass that you get good enough at that, then we'll have fun doing the extra fun stuff. But until then, job 1, secure pass. Get the first down. And those drag routes, that's it. You're like, this is for a first down. This is 3rd and 5, and you're running a 5-yard route. Catch the ball. Even if you get hit right away, you hold on to it. It's a first down. We get another go. But when you drop it, we got to punt.
Yeah. And Naman, yeah, I believe the average depth of target in that game was like 25 yards or something. It was crazy. Little bit of breaking news here, Patrick, that I'm sure you're going to loathe. Trinidad Chamblas is filing an injunction to play. It's breaking news. Apparently,
filing at Mississippi court.
He is filing in Mississippi court the injunction for a 6th year of college football. So
it's not surprising. That was the report that he was going to do that. I mean, if I was him, I'd probably be preparing for the draft and being like, I'm a 2nd round pick. I'm like maybe the 3rd best quarterback in this draft. I might just go ahead and go because I'm going to go somewhere decent. But I get it. I mean, he feels he can be the number 1 pick in the draft, I'm sure. And so all he has to get is an injunction. Doesn't have to win the case. All he has to do, but they're doing it in a Mississippi court, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's the difference. Is everyone else has gone to a federal court. Because federally, that's how they've been able to get it. What they're trying to do is Trinidad Chamblas is trying to say, we signed a contract and the NCAA is trying to invalidate our reason to have this contract work. So we signed a perfectly legal contract because it was not ruled upon when they signed it. And they now said that's where they go. So it's a different kind of lawsuit than what they're saying. Because again, he doesn't need to win it. All he needs is the injunction. And then he'll get to play next season. But you got to find the right judge. I'm guessing they think they found the right judge.
That would be my guess.
Lane Kiffin's calling the judge today. We know for a fact.
Yeah, his attorney Tom Mars is incredibly good. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think they also went ahead and went like, I bet we can get one out of a Mississippi court better than we can out of a federal court because they want Ole Miss to win. So we just have to find that. I think that's interesting. It's interesting what that'll end up being. And I believe Pavia, I don't know if Pavia lost his lawsuit or if it's still going. He's playing in the Senior Bowl, though. So that would lead you to believe that he's expecting to go to the draft. I know somebody else from Vanderbilt did not get an injunction. So there was another player for Vanderbilt who's trying to stay. They didn't get an injection, but I believe Pavia's in the Senior Bowl. So that would tell me he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Be the weirdest thing to have someone play in the Senior Bowl and then come back for another year. I don't think that works, but
that has never happened. So I'm pretty sure it won't.
Yeah, but it's and like there's always guys who play when they're like 20, because if you go down to like D2 and there's 50-year-old guys who just had eligibility, but they don't play 7 years. They just come into football. And there's 26-year-olds who play at BYU. So they go on mission trips. So there's older guys that play at certain places because they come in later, but they still only play 3 to 4 years, which is really the big piece of it. And the Darian Mensah thing is crazy too, Randy. the Derrick Williams part of signing a 2-year deal and then basically telling them, I'm going to go in the portal. And they say, you cannot do that to us. And if you were going to do this to us, could you have not done it at the beginning of the portal where we could have been in play with our money to go get another quarterback? And now you're doing it at the end. And the reality is, well, I wasn't going to do it at the beginning because someone had not called me and told me to get in the portal. And now everybody's out of it. So it's going to be that whole case is going to be very weird with Derrick Williams. That they're the Duke's kind of getting screwed. They just won the ACC with a 7-5 record, and won the ACC. And now their quarterback's walking away, even though they're trying to pay him $4 million. It's nuts. They signed him to a 2-year deal. It does not matter.
I would let him go, man. Like, you paid all that money for that guy, and I get you won the ACC, but it was because the rest of the ACC was bad. You're probably going to be 7-5 or worse again next year. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, the only thing is, I think if it was the beginning of the transfer portal, they'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
I think the problem is you just let all of these other quarterbacks get signed. You let every other option we had get signed, and then you're going to leave. But the only reason he's leaving is because all of the other options got signed. And so he would not have gone if there wasn't tampering. And someone said, we really need a quarterback, and you're the best one we can find. Would you be interested in coming here, and we'll give you a pay raise? Yeah. And especially if it's Miami, if it's Miami, then you're like, oh, they're playing for national championship. Yeah, go right ahead.
Naman, I believe you're referring to Chris Winkie, if my memory serves. I believe he was a very, very old quarterback who played baseball before he played college football. Like, he was a pro baseball player or something like that.
Yeah, that's nuts. But yeah, the Derrick Williams stuff is really crazy. I was happy that the federal judge did not allow those 5 players injunctions on basically because their court case wasn't even injury. Trinidad Chamblas is at least trying to sell that he had an injury, and that's the reason why he missed a year. And he wants an injury red shirt. These guys weren't even doing that. Their literal whole case was other kids make money for 5 years. Why can't we? That was the entire case. And the federal judge is like, because the rules say 4 years of action, like there's rules about this. Come on, man. And of course the judges go, that's ludicrous that they would rule this way, not give us an injunction and let us play for another year. They're ruining our chance to make a bunch of money. Which, I mean, I'm gonna sue somebody for the reason why I can't make money. Because I'll tell you that my bank account needs me. I need to sue somebody. Yeah, but it's and Brandon Weeden was another old quarterback. But we'll see. There's way too many lawsuits. It's like an old thing in pro wrestling, Matt. You could always tell when the writing was bad in pro wrestling because they would just be like, and then we're suing somebody. It was a way to get everybody to hate you really easily because everyone's just like, dude, no one wants to hear about lawsuits. No one wants you to bring this real world part of it into pro wrestling. It's all fake. It's all predetermined. I don't want to say fake. I know Mark Henry, and I don't want him to kill me, which he could do with his bare hands. He's a very large man.
I'm pretty sure he could do it with more than just his bare hand, like less than his bare hands.
The nicest man I'll ever meet, and also somebody who's still wildly terrifying. But it's all predetermined, and they would just do lawsuits, and you're like, yeah, nobody wants this. Nobody wants it in sports. Nobody wants it in anything. It's just frivolous, weird lawsuits of, hey, my guy's already richer than you are, and we want to go harder. CB, it's still real to all of us. CB, it's still real to all of us.
Yeah, I've never been a big wrestling guy, but that is one of my favorite internet clips of all time. Is that dude crying, saying, "It's real to me, damn it!" Oh, and even the wrestlers are sitting down there at the podium, like, "Dude, take it easy."
Yeah, I feel bad for that guy. So, dude, the fact that guy just went up and was like, I'm just going to ask a question and I'm going to give him a heartfelt thing about how much they meant to me, and that to me, they're still my heroes that I grew up with, and that's what it means. And then it comes out as what it did. And just like, that's the one, as soon as he gains his composure, he's like, no one had that on camera, right? No one filmed that one? Because I mean, look, Matt, how many things in our youth are we thrilled that there weren't cell phone cameras around for?
So many things.
When I'm at parties and I see kids pull out cameras and stuff, I'm like, dude, you got to stop doing that. And you got to tell other people to not film everything. Because I don't know if you know what that picture you just took is, but that's exhibit A. Like, that is, we're all drunk. Nothing good is happening here. And we're not really doing anything illegal, but we might later. So if you could delete that photo, that would be great for us. And they don't ever get it. Like, and like, are you really gonna look back on this photo in like 3 years and be like, oh, remember that time we were all just really drunk and thought it'd be fun to take a photo with like half the people sweating? Just no one looks good. One guy's not even with his eyes closed. You're like, that picture's not good for anybody. No one wants that picture.
Well, I went to Oxford with some buddies probably in like 2011, 2012. I can't remember. It was like right after all my friends had graduated, and we were making our trip back for this big thing in Oxford called Double Decker, and it's like a music festival in downtown Oxford. Anyway, we were staying at my buddy's condo downtown, and this was when taking pictures with phones kind of first became a thing. And one of my buddies passed out, so we took Sharpies and drew all over his face.
Yeah,
like somebody
real white guy shit.
Yeah, somebody put a dick on his face and like all this different stuff. And I took the picture, and my other buddy is sitting there behind him with this big like shit-eating grin on his face, with smoking a cigarette inside my buddy's house, which he wasn't supposed to be doing.
Oh.
And I still have that picture for when both of those guys call me as their contact photo. So there is some good historical uses for it, but
there's no good reason to have that. And yeah, CB, I don't watch wrestling as much as I used to when I was younger. I watch weird old stuff about old wrestling just to be nostalgic, but I don't watch. I tried to watch Raw, the first Raw they did of the year, and I hadn't watched it since it's been on Netflix. And it was like, oh, they're going to do all these big things. And it was not good for me. Not good that I was watching. It's like, this does not have any of the feel of what wrestling I remember. It's like there's ad sponsorships everywhere now, and they've made it so I'm not a huge wrestling fan. But yes, Mark Henry was, before I met him the first time, was doing Ball Don't Lie on the Horn. And we just didn't really take phone calls very often. And so we just be busy out the phone lines. And so I busied out. And then I guess he had called one of the guys, either Harge or Rod, and was like, hey, man, why are you not taking my phone call? And then I don't know how he believed it, or if they told him it to mess with me, but he believed that I had blocked his phone number. And so I just get told, Mark Henry thinks you blocked his phone number, and he's not very happy about it. I'm like, hey, man, can we clear that up? Like, seriously fast? Can we please clear up the misinformation? I've definitely not blocked his phone number. I don't have the capability of doing that, first of all, and I definitely did not do that to him. So, and then I've met him several times since then. He's always the nicest guy. And so, but still, not a guy I'd want to mess with. He is a very large, very strong individual.
He scares the Jesus out of me, and I've never even met the guy.
Very, very super nice guy. But
so I have an excerpt from the last page of Trinidad Chamblas' lawsuit against the NCAA, and it includes a quote from the assistant athletic director of sports medicine at Ferris State.
Okay.
And he said, the illness impeded Trinidad's ability to consistently engage in athletic activity, including weight training, conditioning, and football practice. So I guess they're kind of really leaning into the tonsil / whatever it was thing for the medical red shirt.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you have to, because to really have a leg to stand on, like morally in all of this, which I know morals don't matter in college football anymore. But
look at Lane Kiffin.
I look at half of the damn college football. But
we all know Lane Kiffin is the villain of college football.
hey, look, I want Jordan Seaton to come to Texas still. What he did to Colorado wasn't very cool either. That he reportedly had their media staff make him a video package that was made in the thing of I'm going to announce I'm returning, and then use that to announce he was entering the transfer portal, which, I mean, does feel like the atmosphere that Deion Sanders has developed there does feel kind of like that is part of the Deion Sanders effect of like, no, man, you just do what you do and you're the star. So maybe that was not as frowned upon there as others. I know Deion Sanders has been big on letting guys walk in the transfer portal or kicking people out, but I'm all for having Jordan Seaton on the team, and I know that would be something that I'd be like very frowned upon if he did to Texas.
But it was Colorado, so we don't care.
Yeah, yes, it was Colorado. Blame it on Deion, man. Blame it on primetime. We'll just do that. Before we take our break, Matt, I did want to mention something, and we'll talk more Texas, and we'll go into Texas basketball. We got to talk some NFL, make our picks for the weekend, all of that in hour two. We'll keep talking about, and if we have any more breaking news, we'll do that. But it's a Friday, so we're a little bit looser on a Friday. And CB, I'll say this, for how he's drafted, I mean, is he the third quarterback? We know Dante Moore's not in there anymore.
Chamblas?
Chamblas.
He's probably second or third. I think that what probably ends up happening is Fernando Mendoza is the obvious number one pick.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to be particularly close. But then you start to get into a debate between Ty Simpson and Trinidad Chamblas. And I think Trinidad Chamblas probably wins that battle just because of the way that Ty Simpson played at the end of the year.
His upside's through the roof right now. So you put it there, and I mean, like, I put him ahead of Garrett Nussmeier right now. I think Garrett Nussmeier is a guy that you look at his arm talent and you go, well, how much was it LSU last season? How much of an injury is there? How much of all of that? But I think Garrett Nussmeier's up there as a guy. After you get through those four, then it's Carson Beck, Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller, Jalen Daniels, Diego Pavia, Luke Altmaier, Sawyer Robinson, Taylon Green. So guys that you like, but all have clear downsides.
Yeah, I think that Sawyer Robinson's going to be higher than people think.
But I'm saying, I could agree that it might be higher, but that's why I'm trying to figure out where I was going to cut the level off, because the next ones were Cole Patton from North Dakota State and Tommy Castellanos, Miller Moss. So I cut it off there. Taylon Green. I think Taylon Green is also a guy that you're like, he's not there at all, but is an interesting name. Yeah. Like, especially if you're like the Ravens, to be like, can we put Taylon Green behind Lamar Jackson and see what happens? We get him like 6th, 7th round. No, but you like him 6th, 7th round. We'd be like, let's just see what can he do enough that if Lamar Jackson misses 2 games, we got this guy who can play behind him for 3 or 4 years. But somebody like that. But no, I put Trinidad Chamblas up there. I get why you like Ty Simpson because he played really good. I think Trinidad Chamblas was much more of a gamer, so it depends. Certain teams will like Ty Simpson more. Certain teams will like Trinidad Chamblas, depending on who the Steelers hire. I know that that's a team that a lot of people are like, they need a quarterback really badly, and I feel like they would go Trinidad before they went Ty Simpson. Feels like he fits in more with what they'd want to do, and a guy who's probably a little bit quicker to pick it up, where Ty Simpson might be a guy you want to set off not play in a year. Trinidad, you might be like, dude, you're getting thrown in the fire. You got thrown in the fire with Ole Miss, and you took him to a championship. So I could believe that one as well.
Here's the thing, though. None of this is going to matter because he's going to be playing in Oxford next year, and Ole Miss is going to play for a national championship.
I mean, if I was him, seeing that you're like the third, I mean, because next year, Arch is there, Dante Moore is there again.
Yeah, Lenore Sellers.
I mean, Lenore Sellers didn't do any good for his stock this year, though. I mean,
no, but I think he'll rectify that next year. Julian Sayin, I think, will be in there, won't he? Or is he a redshirt freshman, or is he I think he's a redshirt freshman. So after next year, he'll be able to go.
Yeah, I think he's a redshirt. Yeah, he was still. Yeah, so I think you're right. So he would be able to go as well. So yeah, you got some pretty good names in there. Plus, there's going to be another Trinidad Chamblas somewhere, probably. Like
More
not
than
on
likely.
a championship team, but somebody who just blows up all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
So all there. CB wants. Is that the national championship you want?
That's my prediction.
It's a prediction.
If Trinidad Chamblas comes back, that's my prediction. Like legit.
Right. I mean, hey, look, that'd be a hell of a national championship, Matt. You have to buy a ticket for that one, right?
No, I'd be working it.
Oh, that's right. So you'd be getting credentials for that one. Yeah, all right.
Free ticket.
Free ticket. You can't cheer though.
No, it would be the hardest thing that I'd ever have to do as a professional sports writer, but I could do it.
That was sitting courtside for basketball, running the radio broadcast. There'd be certain games where you'd be like under the table clapping, like, all right, cannot show that I'm cheering for a team, even though I'm working for Texas. Like I'm not reporting on it or anything else, but I'm still supposed to be not, cheering. Also, there is someone doing a radio broadcast directly next to me. But you're just like sitting courtside, trying not to be excited about really exciting games happening. So you'd have to try and temper that. All right. How about we hit this break right here? We come back. I want to get into Texas basketball versus A&M. We'll keep the conversations going about football, whatever you guys want to talk about. You guys are being awesome today in the chat. I'm going to crack another beer and have another one with you here as well. And we'll get into the NFL and the divisional weekend as well. Bad news for the Texans on two fronts. Bad news. Concussions not helping out the Texans right now. So we'll get into all of that when we get into hour two. Matt and I tied in our picks. So this is a big weekend because we're about to get down to less and less games, and we've only got a few games left to pick overall. So this is a big weekend for us. We'll do that here in 2.5 minutes right here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
At Sleep Cycle Center, we can treat your sleep apnea in various ways. My story starts 15 years ago with the loss of my father to undiagnosed, untreated sleep apnea. And this is a very preventable disease, and treatment options are various. Millions of people across America have sleep apnea, and they fail to realize the early warning signs. Fatigue, daytime sleepiness, and snoring are the most common signs. We'll find the best solution using advanced technology, oral and epigenetic appliances, or CPAP. We offer weight loss, oral surgery, and laser treatments. Schedule your appointment today and get your sleep evaluation.
If you're looking to remodel a kitchen, renovate your bathroom, or maybe add some new life to your outdoor space, reach out to our friends at McCall Custom Homes. They are custom home builders and renovators here in Central Texas, and they've been doing it in Central Texas for more than 40 years. It's a father-son team with a ton of experience, and all of that experience is here in the Austin area. So they know what it takes to turn an Austin area home into something truly, truly special. Right now, our friends at McCall Custom Homes are offering free estimates to TSU listeners so they can come out to your place, hear your vision, they can tell you what they can do, and then you can go from there. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their website, McCallCustomHomesATX.com. Look at the gallery of jobs they've done over the last 4 decades. And then when you're ready, again, reach out to them and they will come to you. McCallCustomHomesATX.com, or you can call or text Mike McCall directly at 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and all of us at Audiovisual would like to wish you and your family a happy holiday season. This time of year can get a little hectic, so we want to remind you to relax, enjoy the season with your family and friends, and give us a call at 512-255-8678 for all of your home entertainment needs. This is my favorite time of the year. I love the holidays, the music, the decorations, the presents, the whole darn thing. So this year I'm asking all you listeners to help make this a special holiday for everyone. Smiles are contagious and free, so let's give them away like the government gives away your money. Let's high-five strangers on the street. Hold the door for people behind us. Tip your servers more than they've ever been tipped before. Give to a charity, or hell, give to a bunch of charities. If someone does a good job, tell them they did a good job. Pat someone on the butt. Sing in public places just because it feels good. And as always, hug your kids until they beg you to stop. Watch some games with your friends and make love to your wife or your husband. I know there's some women listening too. You can still give us a call at 512-255-8678 if you'd like to get some cool electronics. But more importantly, have a great holiday season and a fucking awesome next year.
Welcome back in to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text line's open, 512-222-9328. And over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. It is a Open Gym Open Bar Friday. So pop them if you got them. Have a drink with us here on a Friday afternoon as I pour myself another little drinky here to have a drink with you here. You know, we're just trying to keep it cordial and loose on a Friday afternoon. Matt and I, who may imbibe in a drink or two every now and then, not every day, doesn't have to be, but you know, sometimes imbibe in a little drink or two there. As we get into it here in hour two, the contract for the first overall pick, which Fernando Mendoza will be, is well over what he would make at Indiana. Like, it's not really close. And now he could believe I could play another year and then go, and then the number would be roughly similar. But Cam Ward's full contract is for $48 million.
Yeah.
So that's why you go. So $48 million is what Cam's got. So it will be higher than that, whatever the cap goes up to. But yeah, roughly under $50 million, which is just that's more than Indiana, even if they give him 10. You're still like, well, but if we don't get back to this, then I could drop to like the 7th pick, and that pays way less.
But it's still more than 10.
It's still more than 10 overall. But the year is not. So the 7th overall pick is $31 million, $5.8 million in your rookie season.
Yeah. Here's an interesting tidbit about the Trinidad Chamblas situation. The judge that is presiding over the case his name is Robert Whitwell.
Yeah.
He's a former partner at Farisi, and Farisi, which is a law firm in Oxford. And he has degrees from Delta State and Ole Miss Law.
You mean they didn't go to Starkville to find a guy?
No, I'm pretty happy about that. That's seems like it'll be a favorable ruling if you ask me.
I'm against it. I feel worse for Ole Miss after the last couple of days in the transfer portal and what's been happening behind the scenes. So I feel a little worse for Ole Miss right now. So I'm not as mad about it. And I wasn't really going to be mad about it anyway. He's not doing anything anybody else isn't doing, trying to get it. They're just trying the different way of like, all right, let's go to a state court. What'll be interesting is if he does a state court and the NCAA tries to play hardball and basically says, that's fine, but you cannot play anywhere outside of Mississippi. The injunction only has reigns in the state of Mississippi. So you can play all your home games. You can play Mississippi State. Every other road game you can't play. I don't think they would. I don't think they would. But it's technically a way you could try and be a jerk about it if you wanted to be.
Yeah, what was that thing with Kyrie Irving with
COVID?
Yeah, with like they wouldn't let him play in certain places because he wasn't vaccinated or something.
Yeah, so it wasn't, I don't even know if it was fully, he wasn't going to be allowed to play everywhere, but then he was not going to get vaccinated and then was just like, screw it, I'm not playing any road games. So it was like kind of a double-edged thing of like most places weren't going to let him go and they didn't want him to travel the same way. And there was all these different restrictions, but he only played home games for a season. Yeah, that was one of the ones where that Harden, Durant, Kyrie thing just never got going because that was one of the seasons was, only home games from Kyrie.
And James Harden is also a cancer that destroys basketball teams.
Yeah, maybe. The Clippers are doing great this year. Don't worry about it. They'll be fine.
Yeah, they're going to be awesome.
All right. Hour 2 of the show. We want to get into some basketball talk. We want to get into Texas versus A&M. Big rivalry game. It never feels as big of a rivalry game in basketball, especially when both teams are not ranked. Feels like less of a rivalry game. Like it still is, and on the day it will. For everybody in the building, it very much will, but it doesn't have the same hype up as maybe some other sports when you're both really good and you can really ruin somebody else's season. I will say this about A&M. They have only lost one game in SEC play. That was to Tennessee, and that was double overtime. So they've played really well in the SEC so far this season, playing that Bucky ball. They're playing good basketball right now. Texas is favored right now by 4.5 points in this game. So Texas is getting all the love. We saw that number drop against Vanderbilt, that whatever happened, people are betting on Texas, people believing that Sean Miller figured it out for Texas basketball before these games. This is a game where both coaches love to run and gun. Both coaches love to score points. Both coaches want to go out there. Now, I think Bucky wants to be more of a three-point shooting team. He has better three-point shooters than Texas does. Leading the way is Ruben Dominguez, but Ryland Griffin and Pop Isaacs are both guys that can shoot the three really well as well. So they're going to try and get the ball. And this is going to be another one where I'm really curious the matchup here offensively, where now you have 2 games of tape on Texas basketball playing their new, more aggressive style of defense and a more intense running people off the line, letting people come inside, trying to get them and trying to scare them away with Lacina Traore and scare them away with Modest Voikatitis and not go in and have contact, trying to get them to pull up for mid-range jumpers. Bucky is a analytics guy too. Everybody's an analytics guy. I hate it. I'm a basketball guy. I like good basketball. I like you to take the best shot, not the one that it's only layups and three-pointers. But that's Sean Miller is basically playing against these guys right now. He understands, I don't want to play in a different way where we're taking mid-range. I had to learn how to do it for Tremont Mark, and he's been great since I did it. So why don't we try and force them into things that they don't want to do? And, Matt, I feel like that's kind of where this game is going to lie because, again, this is not a team with the bigs that are going to be able to beat you up inside, where they're just going to throw the ball inside, slow it down. Now, they're going to be faster. They're going to be shooting more threes. I mean, they're going to play, but you just beat Alabama on the road, who plays a similar style to this. And this is another game. The over-unders, it's 164. You're talking about 80 points a team in this one. If you're able to play close to the type of defense you played against Vanderbilt and be able to score and be able to find your guys and get good shots up, you completely decent shot to win this game. Completely decent shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're absolutely right. I mean, Sean Miller has done a great job of making adjustments and attacking a team's weaknesses over the last couple of games, and it's really paid dividends. I think that that's probably going to be his plan here. I'm not sure how you do that against Texas A&M. You're the basketball expert, not me, but I think that if he can continue to get them to play with the level of intensity that they've been playing with the last couple of games, and the effort that they have put in and all those different things, I think they're going to have a really good shot. They match up well, like athlete to athlete, and player to player. I think Texas is probably going to have a problem at the 4 position, defending AG, who's a really good player.
Yep.
But I think Texas will have its advantages as well, and it's in Austin, which will make a difference. Here's the thing: like I cover Texas A&M, and all I heard after they hired Bucky McMillan was Bucky ball, Bucky ball, Bucky ball, Bucky ball. And I'm not still even sure what Bucky ball really means, Patrick.
It means really up tempo, lots of threes.
Is that it? They made it sound like it was this cool new way of playing basketball. And it's like, it just seems like they like to run and gun.
There's a different way of, it's about player movement and player positioning, and all of that is how you try and get it to be. Basically, the concept is the same stuff Sean Miller is trying to teach a team, which is hard to do in a year. But you're trying to get a team that comes down the court, and as they come down the court, everyone goes to where they're going to be. And you know where your guys are supposed to be, and you're making movements before the ball's there that you're able to consistently know as a point guard what the best play is as you're at midcourt. So you don't have to stop and slow down and let a defense get set. Everyone's kind of at that, and you just run plays off the run as opposed to stopping, setting it down, calling a play, and running a play. You're just trying to run and gun and let everybody get back in there. So you've got your corner guy. If you drive and they come off the corner, you got your corner guy. You've got a big crashing the paint and trying to get inside. If he gets good leverage, you throw it up to him and try and get him inside. You've got a couple other guys on the other side that may be attacking. You've got a guy coming in to crash for a rebound. So there's all these points, and everybody's cycle of it is a little bit different. But yes, Bucky ball is just a different version of that. It's not a completely revolutionary take on it. It's analytics basketball. Shoot threes, play fast. If you score more points, you will win. So score 100 points. You'll win most basketball games in college basketball. So the goal is score 100. And Sean Miller's not far off of that. Sean Miller, I think, has learned our number's probably closer to 80 than 100. So we should probably play a little bit more defense, and they've been much better since they did that. The thing with AG is, while AG is a really good player, the question is going to be for him against Cam Heide. He doesn't out-height him. So can he body him out? Possibly. And that's what you're going to see in this game is, can Cam Heide play against AG without fouling? Can he get downhill on him and get in there? And Randy, unfortunately, if you go at AG, Cam Heide can't go at him. Like, I don't think Cam Heide has that skill set to really go and get a guy in foul trouble. So he's going to be put on Cam Heide for most of the game as the other four. If they put him on Dalen Swain, Dalen, go get him in foul trouble. Dalen Swain can do that. But I think he's most likely going to be over on Cam Heide, which at that point it is pump fake some threes, try and get him in the air, and if he does, go up and try and get the foul. Cam Heide doesn't really do that. Again, Cam Heide's offensive game is not bad. It's just limited. It's just very, very limited. So I think that, the positive is AG and Cam Heide are the same height. I think AG's probably got 15, 20 pounds on him, probably more muscle. So he's going to be able to. They don't really want to slow it down a ton, but you could see them try and slow it down a little bit more and go inside against him. In the center position, I don't know how much they've got really going. That's going to be over the top, stopping Modest Boykatitis. If Modest has another good game, if you can get him the ball, it changes what you do. But in all reality, you're once again, as much as this was a really hard part of your schedule, you're falling into the world where, again, you play really, really good defense, and I don't mean not really good effort on defense. You've been able to knock these guys out of rhythm over and over again. You're a different look than what they're seeing defensively than out of there. Randy, they may play some zone. They definitely may play some zone against Texas because it really slowed down our offense. Every time we've seen it this season, it slows down our offense a lot. The thing with the zone is, can you get down the court before they can set up a zone? So again, Bucky ball works because you can't set up a zone if you're already trying to get the ball and attacking before they get back. You fall into man, you go into a zone out of a timeout. You go into a zone when you can set up where everybody is, or else there's a wide open guy because one guy's not down there and you get a wide open three. So I think they will play zone throughout the game. I think also Sean Miller's probably worked on zone a ton in the last couple of days because he said he worked on it a bunch before Vanderbilt. So we'll see what he does.
I think that Texas is going to have a pretty good size advantage with Boykatitis. A&M doesn't really have anybody down there that can bang around with him. And I know he's not the most physical guy in the world, but they've got some tall dudes, like a couple 6'11" dudes. Jamie Vincent's on that roster, but he only plays like 7 minutes a game. Yeah. They've got Frederico, who, is like 220 something pounds or 230 pounds. And they've got AG, who, is 230 pounds, but he's 6'7". Zach Clements is 232 pounds. He's 6'11". Like, they don't have anybody that's going to dominate you inside, would cause Texas a lot of problems. So I think that they're going to have a pretty good opportunity to win this game. Here is my key to the game, Patrick. Okay. And this is a really, really hot take. Dalen Swain has to play good basketball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I just saw this.
Mode Mark has to play good basketball.
Yes, that too, and probably Jordan Pope as well.
But I need those two guys. Those two guys are pushing the team right now by far.
Yeah, but I was looking at the stats and I saw this and it kind of blew my mind because I didn't realize this about this basketball team. Dalen Swain leads Texas in points, rebounds, assists, and steals.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does.
That's probably not a good thing.
No, but he's I mean, we knew he's the only player on this team. I mean, Modest may go pro because he's 7 feet tall, but he's the only NBA player on this team is Dalen Swain. When you watch him play and you go, oh, that guy could be in the NBA. Needs another year at least. But I think Modest, maybe if he figures out how to pass and do some other things, then he could be there too. But you see him and you're like, Tremont Mark's probably not. He's played for too long now. So that potential may be kind of shot when he's not a great 3-point shooter. But as far as going to Serge about Cam Heide and his skill set, he stretches the floor. You just have to have someone that can stretch the floor. You can't cheat off of him. We know that Modest doesn't pass, but you can't leak off of Cam Heide, and you can off Lucina Traore, you can off of Nick Cody. So that's the reason why he's playing. I agree. I wish we had a better 4 option and he was off the bench and just came in to be a spark plug at points. But I can tell you the reason why he's playing is because you have to kind of stay on him, and it leaves more room open for you to attack the basket or for Modest to work inside. And you just can't do that with Traore or Cody. They both have to sit 5 feet from the basket, or else you don't have to guard them. And that's kind of the problem right now.
Interesting development in the transfer portal, Patrick.
Okay.
I kind of have to do a little research on this. I don't know that Texas will have any sort of, any action in this whatsoever. But Tennessee linebacker Arian Carter has withdrawn from the NFL draft and will enter the NCAA transfer portal.
Okay. I mean, yeah, if someone has offered him money, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll have to kind of get back to you on this one, but this kind of seems like a dude that would fit the profile. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm looking at, or maybe he was just too low. Maybe he's not even on this list, and that's why on the draft, and that's why I guess he's not even on this list as actually declaring. I don't know. But yeah, for Texas, if you're able to go out there and get another big name and another linebacker, we all know another linebacker is completely a very good piece, because Tyler Atkinson, again, I really want Tyler Atkinson to succeed. I'd love if he came in next season and won the job and is playing every down for us, and he's the guy. That's a ton of pressure to put on a true freshman. And the same way we saw with Justice Terry last year, that I think Justice Terry is going to be a hell of a football player. He just wasn't 100% ready to run what the schemes they wanted to run were. And especially in a defense that we saw early in the season was having way too many players freelance and not do what they needed to do, which allowed other teams to do whatever they wanted. And Colin Simmons was, a number one of that you couldn't trust a young guy out there that is freelancing. And for a freshman, if you get caught up, you're going to freelance. You're going to go do whatever you think you should be doing as opposed to what you should actually be doing and being in the right spot. So that's a really, really tough position, even if he has all of the intangibles physically. It is really, really tough for a true freshman to be super impactful, especially for an entire season. So interesting news there, Matt. Interesting little push there. Matt, why don't we get to our picks here? We decided we're not going to do basketball picks. We may do basketball picks after to have some fun once we get through the next, maybe even next week. We might start doing basketball picks. I don't know. Separate, a new world of basketball picks, because we're going to be down to what? Champion. We got 3 games left after this pick of football. So we're down to it with only really, we're going to pick 4 today. We'll have 4 more to pick. We have 1 on Monday that we will pick when we pick the national championship game. Then we'll have the AFC and the NFC championship game, and then the Super Bowl. So we're right down to it. We're both tied at 53 right now, Matt, in our picks. 53 correct picks through the season of college and pro football. And I want to kind of go through, and we'll just talk about all these games in the NFL, because it is divisional weekend, Matt. It is a big divisional weekend. Seeing who ends up in the championship games for the AFC and the NFC. We'll start off with the Saturday 3:30 game, which is Bills at the Broncos. Denver is a 1.5-point favorite in this game, Matt. Right now, pulling up what the weather report looks like. It looks like it's going to be cold, but maybe not terribly freezing cold in an afternoon game for Empower Field at Mile High for the Broncos. The Broncos have been good all season long, Matt. They have won a ton of close games to get the number 1 seed, and the Bills have been up and down, but they have Josh Allen. What's this game to you, and what's the main parts of Bills and Broncos?
Well, I think that Denver probably has a distinct advantage in this game in the sense that they've been playing more consistent football than the Bills. I think this is going to come down to Josh Allen versus Bo Nix, though, and I tend to lean Josh Allen in that battle. I know it's a road game. I know it's going to be a little bit cold weather. That's nothing the Bills won't be used to, so I'm not too concerned about that aspect of it. Denver's a really tough place to play, though. I think this is going to be a really close game. I think Josh Allen's going to either do some amazing stuff in this football game and completely take it over, or he's going to get neutralized. It's going to be, I don't think he's just going to have an average game. So I tend to lean quarterback over, like the quarterback, their team with the better quarterback in matchups like these. I'm going to go with the Bills to cover the 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, this is, a game of Bo Nix not feeling like he's necessarily been that guy this season, and he's been good enough to win, but maybe not fully there. Can the Broncos pull it together and Sean Payton get it together against a really good, been there, experienced Bills team? And quite frankly, I know they're the number 1 seed. I think the Broncos they don't really have the fight in that the Bills do. The Bills know, like, if we don't do this, like, this is the year. All of those teams that normally beat us and all of those powerhouses, we're the only ones still standing. All the trouble we've had, we're the last guys that are still there. So either we're the dinosaurs that are about to be done, and the Broncos and the Patriots and the Texans are all the future, and we're the dinosaurs, or we can go win one more. And so I'm going to go with you on that one and go with the Bills as well to cover in that game, because I haven't really, we'll talk about the Patriots in a minute. I believe more in the Patriots than I do the Broncos. And I get the Broncos have won. They just win too many close games. And they don't have Patrick Mahomes that makes me go, oh, that's why they're winning 1-score games. And without that, I'm going to go with Josh Allen to win a 1-score game.
Okay.
All right. Next game. This is the 7:00 game on Saturday. 49ers at the Seahawks, as our man CB, feet on the ground there in the Northwest, living up there now. He has been able to tell us it does seem like it's going to be nice weather. They're saying 49 degrees at tip-off or kickoff. I say tip-off for basketball or for football, and I say kickoff for basketball. I don't know why. My brain is broken. Don't know why, but I always do it at kickoff. So not super cold at Seattle. Seattle's a 7-point favorite. George Kittle, of course, got hurt last week. This 49ers team is beat the hell up, and the Seahawks have looked good all season long. But it's Sam Darnold. It's a young Seahawks team, and there's just a lot of people who still don't believe, and they believe in the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan to get it done. But 7 points is a lot.
Didn't I hear Steven from Fanatic Perspective say something about an injury with Sam Darnold?
Yeah, he had a minor one this week. He expects to play.
Okay. 7 is really big, especially for the playoffs and the way that the 49ers have been playing lately. I think that they're going to do enough to stay in this game and cover. I still think Seattle's going to win, but I think it's going to be less than 7. So I'm going to go 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it gets a little weird. So he has an oblique tweak, a mild tweak in his left oblique is what they're saying for Sam Darnold. look, we know Quinn Ewers played with an oblique injury. And yeah, CB says it right on time. So it's something there. Quinn's might have been worse. They may be downplaying it. Maybe Darnold's is worse. We know that Quinn still went on and had a really good season. He may not be able to push the ball downfield as much as he'd like. But yeah, I think when you do all that, if we're talking one oblique injury versus all of your weapons except for Christian McCaffrey are hurt, then I gotta go. I still gotta go Seahawks with you on this. All right, I gotta go. You know what? I'm gonna go Seahawks. I'm gonna go Seahawks to cover. I think you pick the 49ers to cover. I'll go Seahawks to cover. I think Shanahan has played a really good season to get everything he's done. And Christian McCaffrey is going to do everything he can to get it done. Brock Purdy is a guy. I think 7's around the number, though. I think Seahawks can win by 7. And I'll say this. There's no way that the 49ers blow out the Seahawks, but there's a decent chance the Seahawks can just get ahead and the 49ers we're just outgunned. We're just outgunned at this point. So I'll go with the Seahawks to cover 7. It's right there. If it was 6.5, you might take the Seahawks too. If it was 7.5, I might take the 49ers. But I think we both think 7's around the number that this game feels right. So then we go over to the big one, probably the biggest game, in football history, not just Texans football history, just football history. Clearly, because the Texans are, the future multiple-time champions, Super Bowl champions coming up, going up to Foxborough, 2 p.m. So it'll be 3 p.m. at Foxborough. It will be very cold. It's supposed to be 36 degrees at kickoff. But the sun will be out, Matt. And I think that's big because you're not getting the night temperatures at Foxborough. You get a day game. This is like Miami going to Kyle Field during the day. I like day games for away games. I don't want to play all the way at night. So for the Texans taking on the Patriots, CJ Stroud with 5 fumbles in the last game, lost 2 of them. Nico Collins, Matt, has been ruled out for this game with a concussion where he took that hit where both his arms were kind of pinned up and his head just went straight into the turf, and that Pittsburgh turf that just sucked and everybody was slipping on, and then took Nico Collins out for us. So he is out for the game. And then in worse news, Christian Gonzalez is clear from concussion protocol today. So Christian Gonzalez will play for the Patriots. So it was a fair trade-off. If they were both in concussion protocol, cool. Your best DB, our best receiver, let's go play the game. No, the Patriots have to get their way and get Christian Gonzalez back to help try and shut down a Christian Kirk who looked as healthy as he has been all season long for the Texans last week. You got all the Iowa State kids as well. Patriots favored by 3 in this game, Matt. Actually, the number I think went down. Did the number go down to 1 now? Or is the number still at 3? Was I looking at the wrong thing? Number's still at 3.
We've locked it at 3, so that's why I made my pick.
I was just curious. If it dropped there, I'd be like, why did it drop after the Nico Collins news? But we know that. Where do you like? What do you see in this game? This is a big one. Texans, Patriots. Keep Texas, the state of Texas football hopes alive for another week.
The Nico Collins news obviously is a big deal. Elite number 1 wide receiver, your best target offensively. None of that's going to matter if the Patriots can't score the football. I'm taking the Texans to cover the 3 and win the football game. Keep it going, man. We're going to keep it going. Texans versus Bills in the AFC Championship.
Oh, in Houston?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Look, CJ Stroud has to have a better game than he did last week.
Yeah.
This is for him, because as much as I think the Texas defense is going to play really well against the Patriots, they're going to make Drake May's life as hard as it's been. I think Drake May's still a really good quarterback, and what they've been doing has been working all season long. So I think that this is going to be a really tough matchup that you're probably not going to be able to win like you did against the Steelers, where your defense is going to outscore them. Stroud has to be able to not turn the ball over when you get those possessions. By the way, the Patriots defense is better than the Steelers defense. You got to be able to move the ball down, and when you do, you go in. Now, we could say Woody Marks and Nick Chubb are also major X factors. If they can run the ball like they did last week, holy crap, it changes what the Texans can do. As the best defense, and then a game where you can average over 100 yards running, all for it. But I'm going to stick with my Texans going into Foxborough, being able to pull off a big upset, and whether the Broncos or the Bills win, make an AFC championship game appearance and be a game away from the Super Bowl for the first time ever in Houston football history to be possibly in a Super Bowl. That would be very fun for all of us that like the Texans. So I'm going to go with my Texans as well. One more game on the slate for us then, Matt. The Rams, 3.5-point favorites. It actually grew up to 4.5. We're picking 3.5 though, but it's gone up. Rams traveling to Chicago. It is icy there. I saw people picking pictures up there of it is icy and windy. It's the start of the game temperature right now for 5:30 p.m. on Saturday, which would be 6:30 in Chicago. 20 degrees for Chicago. Rams, 3.5-point favorites, Matt. What do you like in this game other than Matthew Stafford?
I still think the Rams are the best team in football. I'm picking the Rams. I think it's going to be close, but it's going to end up being a 4-point game. Not a touchdown, but they're going to beat the 3. So I think it's probably going to be something like 27-23, somewhere in there. Or maybe because of the weather, it'll be lower. It'll be like, 17-13. I don't know. It's going to be 4. I'm picking the Rams. I pick them every time. I'm going to pick them again here. Rams Texans Super Bowl is going to be lit.
I mean, Matt Stafford trying to come in after that. Let's see what happens. But yeah, look, the reality is, I think Caleb Williams will probably be more affected by the cold than Matt Stafford. Now, I will say, as someone who has gotten older now, I do understand that the older you are, the more the temperature affects you. Just does. So it will have an effect on Matt Stafford for sure to be in 20-degree weather. But I think he's played in so many cold weather games, playing in Detroit and playing on the road, playing, all these different places where he's played very, very cold games before in his life. Caleb Williams played at USC before this. I don't know how many games he was necessarily playing in frigid temperatures and how ready he's going to be. And I get he's in Chicago. He's more used to the wind. He's used to a lot of this stuff. I love Ben Johnson. Sean McVay's got way more experience. I'm going to pick the Bears to cover because the Rams have not been dominant really all season long. So I'll say this is probably a 3-point game, and the Rams win it. But I'll take the Bears. So I'm going to take the Bears in this game. I think the Rams win it, but I think there's something to this Bears team that they stay in it, and that if the Rams get out to a decent lead, the Bears will come back and make it a game at the end of the game, and then Matt Stafford can kind of put it away. And like that world of just like, the experience is going to win, but whether it's 5 points or 4 points or 3 points, I know we were going 3.5, but whether it's one of those, I think it'll be a 1-score game where the Bears just fight into it. It's cold weather. And then we saw some of those throws Caleb Williams was making last week. They're just ridiculous. All right, I'm one of those dudes who, when the game is tight, I can go make a play. And he did it. I think that Matt Stafford is that guy too, though. So the problem is you can fight yourself back into it. And when Sean McVay comes down to the end of that game and has to say, well, all right, we need a drive to either kick a field goal or maintain a 3-4 point lead, I think they can do it, and they'll end up winning this game. But that puts us, for these games, we both took the Bills over the Broncos with the upset. You took the 49ers to cover 7 because it's a big number. I took the Seahawks to cover 7, even though it is a big number. We're both on board with the Texans. I'm seeing too many people pick them. I'm not liking that. I almost want to pick the Patriots to fade myself and try and get it in there. And then you have the Rams covering 3.5. I have the Bears covering 3.5. I don't have them winning, but I have them covering 3.5. That's all that matters. in our picks. We'll pick on Monday. We will pick the national championship game, but we're going to talk more about that on Monday and break that down a little bit more between the two of them. Matt, I was not expecting, though, for us to get more portal news at 5:40 on a Friday.
Yeah.
So, but the Arian Carter news is interesting.
It is. I don't know that Texas is going to be involved in this. I think they're looking for a true Mike linebacker, and I don't know that he's that. I think he's more of a off-ball linebacker, but we'll see. Maybe they can get him to play Mike. I don't know. I don't know that that's the move they're going to make. It would certainly be interesting. Don't get me wrong.
No, and
he's
again,
a really good player.
And again, it is the world we're in now of two. Well, if everybody else is out, we might as well call them because for Jordan Seaton. Sorry, I was trying to pull the name. Jordan Seaton's name. We see him kind of just making the runs where everyone's like, why would we not talk to him? Why would we not? I believe he's at Mississippi State, which, good Lord, Starkville, they better pull out a bag. What's that dude's name from Barstool? Is he paying for this? Is he pulling a Portnoy for a left tackle?
I think that he has a connection to the offensive line coach at Mississippi State, which is probably what got them the visit, but I don't see much materializing there unless nobody else ends up wanting to pay for him.
I think Miami's trying to get him on campus now too. So
I think he's visiting Miami today or tomorrow. So there's going to be a battle for him. Texas, I think, has bowed out at this point, which they should. They got a tackle who's going to be very good for what they do, and they're not going to have to overpay for as much. So I think that's going to be fine. I did just get a very interesting update. Again, I'm sorry to keep bringing it up, but on the Trinidad Chamblas situation from an attorney buddy of mine who posted this on Twitter. Bear with me. Mississippi Chancery courts have the power to grant injunctions like the one Chamblas is seeking. Once the injunction is granted, and it will be, Chamblas will not be barred from participating in athletic activities at Ole Miss, including practices and games. Additionally, civil cases like this one are not in any kind of mandatory hearing schedule, meaning there's no duty for any party, especially the filing party, to seek expedient resolution. A trial could very easily not be set until 2028 or beyond, well after Chamblas' final season. On top of all of that, state courts have sided with the athletes in approximately 80% of these kinds of cases, requesting a similar injunction. Unless something weird happens, Trinidad Chamblas will likely be your starting quarterback at Ole Miss for 2026.
All right.
Interesting.
It is. The only thing I'd worry about is if the NCAA tries to be petty about it.
I wouldn't put it past them. I'll say that.
And I wouldn't either, because I mean that's the one thing they've really stuck to their guns about is eligibility. It's really, and that's the only thing is like you cannot play a bunch of years. That's the one thing they're sticking to, and so we can go in that. And as far as you have to say the name again for me, Matt. I keep saying it, and I lose confidence so early in Prince's name. Prince Will's name.
Prince Will Umami Ellen.
Yeah, I lose confidence so early in that name.
I used to cover Ole Miss, and his brother Princely also played for Ole Miss last season, and it probably took me a good 3 or 4 months to get it right.
So
and there's also 2 other Umami Ellens that are playing college football as well.
Are they all from Manor?
Yeah, they're all brothers, I think.
Okay, because I mean they're
all
down the
related
road
in some way.
They're down the road from us here. They're all from Manor, so they all played down the road from us here in Austin. But Randy, according to my man Matt here, who is our Ole Miss aficionado, this is not a open bidding war. This is literally LSU saying we're getting him. So.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be a done deal. And maybe Texas can swoop in and give him a big offer, but it seems like it's an LSU thing. He's either going to play at LSU or Ole Miss is going to try to hold him to his contract and force him to play at Ole Miss next year. I believe he'll be at LSU, though.
Yeah. Get that. Who's that judge again?
I can't find the...
Well, find that judge. Get that judge again. Come on. Come on, judge. You got to do it for us. You got to get them all. All right, we're going to take our second break real quick. We'll come back, wrap up the show here on a Friday afternoon. Whatever else you guys want to put in the chat, we'd love to talk to you. We'll check the text line here before we go as well. And we'll wrap it up here on a Friday afternoon, hanging out with you here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Hayden Covert. Welcome to Covert Buick GMC of Bee Cave, your home in the Hill Country for new and pre-owned Buick and GMC vehicles. With beautiful inventory arriving daily, including the GMC Yukon, Sierra 1500, and Buick Enclave, you'll be certain to find the perfect vehicle at an incredible deal. Our service department is also open for all your vehicle maintenance needs. Visit us today for a test drive. Covert, born and raised in Austin. We are professional grade.
Altstadt Beer, the best beer that you can find all throughout the great state of Texas. Y'all know I've been a fan of Altstadt for years now, and if you try it, I think you will be too. If you've already tried it, you know exactly what I am talking about. Altstadt is brewed locally in Fredericksburg, but available all over the state of Texas. So if you're tuned in Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, it does not matter. You can find Altstadt at a local grocery store or liquor store. They've got a bunch of different brews, something for every beer drinker out there. The lager, the Kolsch, those are their two flagship beers, both award winners. They are fantastic. The Altstadt Light sacrifices on calories but does not sacrifice on the taste. They've got great pills, tons of great seasonals as well. I'm telling you, one sip and you won't go back to the other beers you've been drinking in the past. It is the official beer of BK. It should be the official beer of you as well. It's Altstadt Beer. No impurities, no regrets.
Hey y'all, I'm Camille McKay.
And I'm Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations.
The old man and I are here to give you your summer weather forecast. It's hot.
That's right, kid.
Which means it's time for pool parties, grilling burgers, and taking a beach vacation, right?
Well, I don't know about a vacation, but Audiovisual brings more heat than any tropical destination.
It was worth a shot. I'll settle for some outdoor speakers.
You know, Audiovisual can do a lot more than that. We provide outdoor video screens, audio systems, landscape lighting, even solar shades for your patio to keep the Texas heat at bay.
Well, I'm sold. Let's wrap this up. I'm ready to lounge on a floaty and listen to some smooth jazz.
Well, that sounds wonderful, but some smooth reggae is the way to go this summer.
Good thing we can listen to both with the Sonos sound system. I call dibs on the floaty, though. Peace out.
Kid, wait a second. Give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit us at avconsultations.com. That's 512-255-8678.
Back here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered as we wrap it up here on a Friday afternoon. Appreciate you hanging with us. And yes, Kane, it is interesting how many tackles we targeted. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I think there is a thought of being able to have more mobile offensive linemen. But they really wanted to make sure tackles are, they're really good players. And I think the interior offensive linemen, maybe the pitch didn't go for them as well. We know that, as Matt's reported, and that we've heard, that there was plenty of money offered to some offensive linemen who returned to where they were going. So we say guards are easier to get. It has not been the case for Texas that guards are easier to get than tackles. At least not so far. Not so far.
I think that problem will still be solved, guys. Don't worry about it. And again, I wouldn't rule out the possibility of Brandon Baker shifting inside to tackle, kind of based,
not either.
To Patrick's point about better pass protectors on the inside, because that's typically the way that Cal Flood likes to deploy his offensive line. He prefers pass protection over run blocking as a skill set, I guess. So we'll see what happens. I think that they're still gonna get a couple guys. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
No, I think they will as well. And yeah, but being fleet-footed and being able to go outside zone as well, tackles are easier to go outside zone. If you have a tackle at a guard coming off a block and running outside and following, the runner, it's easier for Brandon Baker to do than maybe it would be a 365-pound guy. So yeah, that's another reason why you may like it. Chan on the text line, my man Chan on the text line says, why isn't Miller going further into the bench and we're not deep compared to the Aggies? We are not deep at all. The reason he doesn't go on the bench, who else do you want to play? Nick Cody and Declan DeRue. It's the only two guys not playing. They kind of do the same thing, kind of around the same. They're both power forwards. You're really not even playing power forwards that much because you're playing Cam Heide, who's kind of really a 3, but he's playing 4. You play Lucina Traore at center, so he's a 4 playing 5. You can't have two guys on the court who have to stand 5 feet from the basket to be an offensive threat. It lets teams play defense too easily on you. That's what they've not been able to do. They're not good enough offensively to be able to beat that. So they're basically not – they're just a bunch of guys who kind of do all the same thing. And that's why Nick Cody hasn't played a bunch. That's why Declan Drew – I don't fully know why Declan Drew hasn't played a bunch, but he just hasn't earned their trust yet at all. But that's why they're not playing more. Outside of that, we got McDermott or Taylor or Bott. By the way, shout out to Bott, man. This is his 3rd coach. Bott was there with Chris Beard. He's there for Rodney Terry, and he's here for Sean Miller. I always like those guys who have lots of coaches. Like they're just every time like, are you come back? I'm a walk on. Let's do it. Why not come back another year? I like to be on the team. Maybe the girls like it. I don't know. Good for him. But yeah, that's the reason. They don't really have a lot of depth. There's only 2 other guys you can say, and it's Cody and Drew. And if Traore is playing better than those guys, that's the minutes. You can't replace Jordan Pope with anybody who's not playing. You can't replace, you're not going to replace Tremo Mark or Dale. You're definitely not replacing Dalen Swain, as Matt gave you the numbers, that he leads in everything. You're not replacing him. You're not replacing, you're probably not even replacing Cam Heide, really, because Cam Heide can shoot a 3. Even though he doesn't shoot them enough, he can, and none of those other guys I named can. And so they can't stretch the floor. So that is why. That is why they do not play as far into their bench as other teams. It's going to hurt them as the season goes on because they're just going to get run down by the end of playing the SEC schedule and going into a tournament and then playing the tournament. It'll wear them down a lot more. That's not great, but it's either that or not make the tournament. So those are your 2 options. Play 8 guys or be bad and not make the tournament. I think we'd all go with try your best to make the tournament, which they find they're back in. They're back in the run. They beat A&M. It's another good win. A&M and them are right next to each other in Kim Palm. They're a couple people off of it. So it's another good win if you're able to get that win. So I'm all for it. Matt, do you have any more Trinidad Chamblas updates for us?
No. I'm feeling pretty good about that. You're going to get to it seems like, at least for now, that you're going to get to watch Trinidad Chamblas versus Arch Manning next year. I'm
going to watch Trinidad Chamblas versus LSU next year.
Yeah, that's going to be that game's in Oxford, by the way.
Yeah, I know. That's a hell of a game next season. If that was not 7:00 on ABC, I don't know what game you're putting on.
Well, here's what's going to happen, actually, and it doesn't matter if LSU is 0. I don't remember what week of the season it's in, but it doesn't matter if LSU is 0-5 or 0-6. They're going to put that game at night just to piss off Lane Kiffin, because his big gripe with Ole Miss his entire time in Oxford was LSU gets all the night games in the SEC and we don't get any. We play all of our games at 11 and 2:30. So I guarantee you that I will bet my life savings the game will be a night game.
I love it. I like CB. This is why he's the best producer, because he wants a sound alert for the Chamblas updates.
I can probably make that happen.
I love it. No, I'm all for it. That game is going to be like, I can't imagine like the LSU players, and especially, anyone who left Ole Miss to go to LSU, and it's just going to be, that is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun to watch of college football in the portal world, where most of the time you're like, okay, you know what? We get it. It's a portal, and you're going to go make your decisions, and we understand. Out. That is not the same for what will be happening with in that game. So, but yeah, I'll say Trinidad versus Arch is going to be a really good matchup as well. In that, because Ole Miss. You're also talking about 2 of the best portal teams. That is a solid sound effect there. What's the update though? You got.
I found these sounds in the media assets for StreamYard. So I could start playing sounds anytime there's breaking news for Texas football,
There you
or
go.
maybe
I think
we'll
we
do
have
that.
a breaking news sound. I think we do actually have an actual breaking news sound on here, but I don't know. Maybe it's this one, or I don't know. Maybe we have one. I don't know. I know that Brad has had them in the past as another great producer of Austin Radio that is now a great host of Austin Radio and a great runner of Texas Sports Unfiltered. Matt, let's get to our meathead of the day and wrap it up here. First, let's give some good juju vibes for we know that Will Anderson, after the game of the Texans game, said that he felt there was a scoop and score. We've now got the prediction of the pick six as well, with this audio from Jalen Petrie on the sidelines with the Texans during the game.
Gotta go score. Then you gonna get a pick. We all gonna be turned. La la la. Then we gonna go home. When you catch this pick, you gonna kneel or you gonna run? I'm running. I'm going down. I'm not. I'm going down. Steve caught it. I'm going down. Hold on, 3. You catch a pick, you going down or you running? Down. Okay. We 3 for 4. I'm running. Okay. Hey, let's finish.
Rodgers in the pocket. Rodgers swinging it downfield. And
Ball!
picked off at the 50.
Go, 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 go.
To his left, 40, 35, 30. Bullock, 20. Bullock upended at the sideline, maintains his balance, and runs for pay dirt.
You that boy! You that boy! You that boy! You said it! You said it! You said it! Bro, thank God. We said we was gonna thank God. You the one. You the one.
There's Jalen Petrie hyping up Kalen Bullock. Jalen Petrie is definitely their hype man of this defense, getting it going. But I love that of him asking every other person to go, if you're going to catch us, because it's in the end of the game. So he's like, if you catch us, you going to kneel or are you going to go? And everyone says kneel except for Kalen Bullock. He's like, oh, I'm running. Well, I'm running. And then they showed him after the game. He had the ball and it says like Rodgers pick 6. And he's like, I got Aaron Rodgers last pick 6. You're like, oh, it's a heck of a moment. But Jalen Petrie is that dude with the Guardian cap on, just making it happen.
Yeah, he better hold on to that ball and put it in a case in his, in his house somewhere. I'm the guy that retired Aaron Rodgers for good.
And then
worth a lot of money one day.
I'm going to tell you why I'm more confident in the Texans winning this weekend. If you remember last week on a Friday, I believe, or maybe it was Monday. It was Monday. I played you a little girl making picks for the wild card round of the playoffs.
Yes.
She has made picks again, Matt. So if you're a betting man, here you go. She was 0 for 6 last week. Let's see who she picks this week.
No. Buffalo!
I'm screwed.
49ers! Patriots! Bears!
So we're good. Let's go Texans. We nailed it on that one. Your Rams, my Texans. We're feeling good right now. Poor little girl went 0 for 6, and because it's 2026, her family said, you went viral. We're not going to tell you why you went viral, but you went viral. And we need you to make more picks because there's a lot of people and a lot of money riding on this. So if you are a fan of any of the teams she did not pick, you feel much better this week. And I've sent that video to Texans fans that I know to be like, I think we're good. I was watching that video. Stressed out. She picked the Patriots. Like, all right, let's do it. Let's go. See if she can go 0 for 10 in the playoffs. That right there is a feat if she goes 0 for 10 in the playoffs. But I saw that this morning. I was like, all right, we're good to go, man. Texans are ready to get in there. So we're going to enjoy the weekend. Enjoy divisional weekend. Enjoy Texas, hopefully beating the crap out of Texas A&M there at the Mood. And then we'll be back on Monday. Break down the national championship game, break down any more portal action that we have happen over the weekend. We know there was a big weekend last week in the portal. I would imagine it's not going to be as crazy as last weekend. But who knows what Texas will pull off in the portal this weekend. Are you saying yes? Going to be crazier than getting Cam Coleman?
No, but if you're going to get into the portal, you better get in the next 5 hours.
Yeah, 5 hours. Get in the portal. Not if you're Texas. Sorry, Texas. No, sorry, you didn't hear me. It's done. Texas players, it's done. No more portal. It's closed. Sorry, missed the window. We got to get out of here. We will get you back next week. Break down and get you ready for the national championship game. Break down everything that happened over the weekend and a whole lot more. But until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for more. Not tomorrow. Come on. 1.5 beers got me there. See you Monday.